The Rewatchables is brought to you by the Ringer Podcast Network, where you can find House of R with Mallory and Joanna. You can also find us all together on the Prestige TV podcast doing White Lotus.
Yeah, that's right.
Every week. It's probably my most fun hour of the week.
Oh,
We talked about I had a whole stunt penis conversation last time. That was just a delight.
I'm having the time of my life. I dreamt of the hand gestures that Mallory made during the last podcast.
Well, Joanna's here. She's in LA for a few weeks, which means we can steal her for the Rewatchables every once in a while.
Who had the over-under at 45-second mark for Bill mentioning that Joe is in LA?
I just mentioned she's here. And I sent her a list. I sent her make a list of Rewatchables movies, and she mentioned a few of them. One of them, which is Best in Show, a movie that we all dearly, dearly love.
Well, because we're doing White Lotus together, we might as well do Best in Show, which has a couple White Lotus stars in it.
And 25-year anniversary, right?
Is that this year?
The movie came out in 2000.
Oh,
look at that.
Great point.
Wonderful
it's coming
stuff.
up next.
That goal is that Best in Show ribbon.
Actually, poodle means puddle in German.
You want your busy bee? Come get your busy bee.
God, Harrison, if she doesn't get a door, she's gonna flip out!
It's not in here. You left it at the hotel. Go to the hotel and get busy bee!
That's my favorite, the miniature schnauzer. You'd think they'd want to breed them bigger, wouldn't you, like grapefruits or watermelons?
Don't look at the fathead losers or freaks. You look at me!
He went after her like she's made out of ham.
All right, so I don't know what it says that we've done 2 Rewatchables with Joanna, and they've been Crash and Best in Show.
That's my brand, I think.
Tracks.
Yeah. Sounds right to me.
Okay, then we've got to go like some sort of sci-fi or Marvel or something.
Then
for
you
the
would have
next
to
one.
watch a sci-fi or Marvel movie.
I really liked Iron Man.
You already did that one.
You did.
Yeah.
The mockumentary. The 3 best mockumentary movies of all time.
No, we
are-
need to do Species.
Sheesh.
What do you mean? Oh, Species. We have to.
Species.
The mockumentary, Spinal Tap, Best in Show, and Borat have to be in the Mount Rushmore if you're doing it. I think those 3 have to be in. And then the 4th one is kind of open depending.
Well, are you keeping it to
on what you
movies
think.
only? Because otherwise,
Movies
obviously,
only.
it would be The Office.
No, movies only.
Movies only.
I think those 3 all have to be in.
I think I really like Waiting for Guffman and A Mighty
I would have
Wind.
Guffman as my 4th.
I think so,
I
too.
would put Guffman in there.
Some people would throw Popstar in there. Some people would do a little Bruno, but I would have Guffman as the 4th. But Best in Show, which came out in 2000, right around the time when things would come out and then immediately go on DVD, and you could watch them over and over again. And this movie you just jump into, and it's great. And Mal, dogs.
I love an
On
animal.
top of the comedy, dogs. Lots of different dogs.
Here's some things I love. I love to laugh. I love cinema, and I love an animal. It's just absolutely has it all. Wonderful.
I was going to do this later, but what's your favorite dog out of all the dogs? I'm ready to do this now and just completely blow up the structure of the pod.
Great. Let's go rogue. I really am fond of Winky. It's hard not to be fond of Winky. I love a terrier. But I feel the pull of Hubert.
Winky
That
was
is a
a
beautiful
Norwich terrier, just for the.
Yeah, you're gonna go deep
Which I
into
guess
dog
just
breed
means short
expertise.
legs. It looks kind of like a hedgehog.
Honestly, this is
He's
like
beautiful.
of the like star dogs in this.
Yeah.
It's really between Hubert and Winky, right?
That's how I feel.
You don't
They're
want a
next
Shih
level.
Tzu.
Yeah.
You don't want Rhapsody,
Rhapsody
White.
is frankly the villain of the movie.
Yeah. And you don't want
come on.
Beatrice.
No.
Who is
I
wildly
feel tenderly
untrained.
toward Beatrice, and I think that none of this is Beatrice's fault. It's
None of-
all obviously the Swans, the 2 best characters in the history of film.
But do you think Beatrice landed at a better home?
Yeah, that was one of my unanswerable questions for
Yeah.
later. I'm like, what is the rest of Beatrice's life
You don't
like?
think
Does
they
Beatrice
took her to
thrive?
ride on a farm?
No.
One-way
Stop that.
drive?
No.
That's what my parents did when I was 6.
Did they?
Got a dog named Barney that was just the meanest, angriest puppy.
No.
And then one
found
day
a
they
good
were like, we
home.
have to bring Barney to see his parents in the farm. Never came back.
Barney
it was like
found a
classic.
good
It was
home.
like
I
the
can't believe
cliche
they
of a cliche.
actually used the
I
farm
fell
line
for it
on
too.
you.
I was like,
my
oh,
God.
man.
No.
When did you find out?
Is he happier on the farm? They
When-
told me when I was like 16.
And you're like, wow,
Like we
the
took
world's a
Barney
lie.
back and they probably put him down because he was an absolute sociopath.
I thought we were here to laugh today. Fucking, this is horrible.
Sorry. My answer is Hubert the Bloodhound.
Yeah, he's great.
Every time I watch this movie, it makes me want to have a bloodhound. And I guess they drool.
A lot of drool slobberpuss, as they call them in the film.
And they're kind of put on Earth to do certain things. Then they're not to live in LA and just be in somebody's house would be a waste of a bloodhound.
You would have to move to Pine Nut, North Carolina. That's true. Yeah.
My wife is a big play with the dog's ears person.
Oh.
And the bloodhound, it's like, that's the number one set of ears you would get to play with.
Yes, absolutely.
Since I am more of a cat person than I am a dog person, I like a small dog that sort of acts kind of cat-like. But there is something to be said for a huge dog that, like, instead of petting them, you like pat them.
Right.
And that's what they do for Hubert in this. It's a lot of like heavy patting on the dog, and the dog seems to love it. So,
good personality. He's just mellow. His face squishes. He's
I
got
love
these big
when
fat
Harlan's
ears.
moving his face around.
He
That
can
could be
say-
good shot Gordo, his little face wrinkles.
He can say macadamia nut.
Right.
You know,
Exactly.
what
He
can
can
he do?
communicate telepathically. That is the most scene I've ever felt in a film, when Harlan Pepper is just like, yeah, my dog can talk. Yeah,
Right.
we have a conversation.
Yeah.
Of course we have conversations.
He understands.
Yeah, he understands. He can communicate. He's trying to convey a deep, meaningful truth. That's how I feel about my cat Halo. That's how you feel about your cat Bug.
It's true. Is
One
that how
of
you
the
feel about all your dogs? Do you talk to your dogs?
You talk to Murph
deep
for
relationships
sure.
with my dogs. One of the things I like about this movie is it was pretty early on. Pet people are great and weird. The internet was in the early stages. It was one of those things.
Yeah.
Like I especially saw it with my dad and my stepmother. My stepmother, they were getting golden retrievers since the mid '80s. They gave them human names. They treated them like kids. They had birthday parties for them. All the stuff Mallory does.
Yeah, this is, I
Um,
love
only
all of
that
this. Yeah.
They just got a new puppy. It had to have an IE human name because that's what the other 7 golden retrievers they've had over 40 years have. And my stepmother's just
Love it.
super weird. Like she's
None of that
talks
sounds weird
to the
to me at all.
dogs, makes out with the dogs,
Oh,
just kid,
okay.
like
What
not
about-
not make out, but like the dog's just licking her
Yeah.
face.
What
and-
about clothing for the dog?
No, that's the only
That's a
thing they
step too
don't.
far.
They don't do that. Even for
Talks to the dog.
warmth out in
They
the
just
winter.
kind of they morph into dogs, and I was always like, man, my stepmother, I love her, but she's really weird
Yeah.
with the dogs.
But now
And
you
then
do that.
You see a movie like this,
Right.
and you're like,
You're like,
yeah,
oh.
Yeah.
lot of
You
weirdos.
maintain an Instagram in the voice of your dog.
Murph, yeah, he's become more
So,
threatening.
Like,
Well, he's hilarious.
yeah, I agree.
He's got a lot of comedy in that dog.
What about people who have like one breed of dog that they love and
Mhm.
all the decor in their house? I knew a Scotty dog person.
I mean, this is
where
sort of
everything
Winky.
was
They've got-
Scotty dog. They do
They
have
have
a
the
lot of
Winky
terrier.
mailbox.
Yeah.
They've got all the
Like a
terriers. He's got
vase.
Winky on his
Yeah.
hat, which that's a great hat. I
But
would
you've
wear that
never
hat.
you've never dogged it up though.
We had a dog briefly when I was like very young. But yeah, I love all animals. I'm not like a dog versus cat, but I am a cat lover. I've
You're
had
a
2
one-
cats in my life.
But you're a one relationship with a pet.
Yeah, I give
you could never have
all
2
I
pets.
have to give. As you guys know, I have nothing left for anyone else in my life, including my husband. It all goes to Halo.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah,
You guys
we've-
get a little bit. Adam's got nothing.
We've actually had ringer high level conversations without Mal and them. Strategy planning for if anything ever happened to Halo, what would happen to Mal? Like just what would happen? And we honestly don't know, and she doesn't know either.
I don't.
That's how
I
that's
hope
how
to never
bad it is.
find out.
Ever want to know?
I hope to never
I don't
find
ever want
out.
to know either.
I don't ever want to know.
Well, how old's Halo now? 16?
He's 15 and a half,
15.
and he is
Doing
thriving.
great.
We were a cat family growing up, but when I went to college, my parents bought a dog to like replace me, right? And it was a show dog, a Portuguese water dog show dog.
Oh my God.
My mom became
Whoa.
like a show dog person.
Whoa, like a
Yeah.
handler?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that you were
like
going
as
to
a
have this
career.
level of perspective.
Not
to
as a
bring
career,
today.
but like she handled
yeah.
the family's dog. Yeah, the Portuguese water
Wow.
dog. Yeah.
I don't know what a Portuguese water dog is. Do you?
They're like a hardier
I've
poodle.
looked at them. Yeah, they're
Oh,
they're
Barack
they're,
Obama had
they're
the
more
Obamas
active.
had a
Yeah, they're
Okay.
kind of
water
cool.
dogs. Yeah.
Oh, how wonderful.
The
Yeah.
one
Well, I mean,
Not the replacing good part.
not the like
the
we
rest
got
of it.
bye, we got a dog, you know. But
the one I've always been fascinated by that's always in the dog shows is the border collie.
Mm.
Which I'm
Love
really
a collie.
surprised they didn't
Yeah.
have one in Best of Show.
Mhm.
Best in Show. I keep calling it Best of Show for some reason. Best in Show.
Because
Right,
all the
almost seems like it should be
commands
Best
that they
of
can-
Show too. Best in Show because
because of all the commands that
good
the border collie
athletes.
can do.
Yeah.
they're super smart and
Yeah.
they're pretty hyper. And we looked into getting one once, and it
They
just
are cute.
it's a lot. Like they're ready to go.
Mhm.
They're
Mhm.
ready to like, yo, let's go outside. You got to throw me a ball for like an hour.
Oh,
Let's
wow.
do this. So that's why I think a lot of them go in. But anyway,
You know what a cat does? It's like you're reading a book. Let me sit in your lap.
yeah. Oh no, the cat goes. I might sit in your lap.
No. No.
I might.
You will earn that love and it will
No,
be
but
the
that's
most
just Halo,
rewarding
though.
Mallory,
thing.
some cats don't want to sit in your lap.
Sure. They're discerning.
Yeah.
It makes it feel all the better.
Dogs
when you establish that
dogs have
bond.
low self-esteem and they just want to know what you're doing at all times. They're just available.
And they're like, can we do it with you?
Cats are like, you're on my terms, and I'll decide how this relationship's gonna go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, the mockumentary.
Yeah.
Christopher Guest said we did an oral history about Best in Show.
I know,
in,
I read it. It's really good.
2020, which I don't remember because, as you know, the vaccine. I don't remember anything from 2020.
I know that this is the thing you've started saying on the podcast.
Just don't remember it.
Yeah.
Don't remember anything that happened that year. But Christopher Guest said his mockumentary is about people who don't see themselves very clearly.
Mm-hmm.
The audience can see something happen that they don't see. They obviously take what they do very seriously, whether it's folk music, dog show, whatever. The world is right. But at the core of all this, when you see characters, Eugene and Catherine play the Cookie and Jerry Fleck.
Icons.
It's pretty sad. You know, most of it's sad, actually, if you look at it. So he's fascinated in these people are kind of losers, but they're lovable. And there's a lot of comedy that could come out of this. And he did this for 4 movies.
They're caricatures. They're heightened versions of a thing that is true, right? Do you think Christopher Guest should make a movie about podcasters?
Yes.
That would be
if you said,
great.
Should he
There's
make
too
a
many
podcast?
of them. I think there's too many podcasters. The thing with the dog show world is it is such a limited, weird world. And that in the last 25 years, though, Westminster, I think, became a bigger cable outlet.
Yeah, but
and
I
you
think,
watch and you're like, man, these people seem weird.
But there's like specific strains of podcaster that would be really fun to sort of explore.
Yeah.
On a deeper level.
Yeah, you could have
know what I
like
mean?
a guy, for
Genres,
example,
true
called
crime.
like
the true crime podcasters.
the sports guy.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Okay. Should we make
Should
a
we
podcast
do a
mockumentary?
mockumentary?
Yeah.
Great.
He also said he talks about the connection he makes with music and improvising because he was a big musician.
Mm-hmm.
I look at this as a band with great musicians. I mean, everyone has to be able to hold up their part. You cannot have a weak link in that. The whole thing falls apart. So he's really careful about who's in these movies.
Mm-hmm.
The sad thing for me is that there aren't more of them. And some of them have worked better than others, but I almost don't know why it ended.
Something that like Eugene Levy said in an interview is that because he co-wrote this and the best stuff Eugene Levy also worked on. And he said sort of it felt rote to him after a while, like they had sort of done it and he didn't want to wear it out. So he didn't want to do it anymore. But like, I feel like I would have a bottomless appetite for this. At the same time, I didn't think Mascots was great, you know, and For Your Consideration was okay.
Wasn't. Maybe
so
maybe it petered out.
You know. So
I hope that they do feel like the moment arrives when they're ready to return. It's one of those things where you crave more, you want more because you love the thing so much, but the logical part of your brain kind of acknowledges that there's value in discretion.
Can I give you another theory?
Let's do it.
I think Larry David and Christopher Guest were more on each other's corner than people realized. And Curb kind of became the TV outlet of this kind of stuff. And it was more built around Larry's universe.
Yeah.
But all the characters and the way they structured that show, the outline was a little deeper. But it was a lot of improv, and it was a lot of people like, you're in this situation, this happens. And a lot of the recurring characters, like Richard Lewis was basically the Eugene Levy, right? Jeff Garlin is whoever. And so he would have his 8 to 10 people year after year. And then JB Smoove entered the cast. And I just feel like that was kind of the cousin of this movie.
Curb is a good point, but as Mal mentioned, there's The Office, both the UK version, the American version, and then like Parks and Recreation, like the whole like Sherverse, Greg Daniels, like all that sort of stuff bites off of this a bit as well.
And the British Office was just a year after Best in Show, right? So then it became like the way that people were making the things that became the monoculture.
But when they did The Office, like they had a 16-page outline for this movie, and then they just kind of went nuts with it. Like they don't do TV shows like that.
My favorite thing that I learned from the great Ringer oral history that came out in 2020, a year that I do remember despite having the vaccine.
I don't remember. Was I in LA that year? I don't remember. What happened?
That this was like 2 things I want to say. One is that this was probably Fred Willard's last interview he ever gave before he died, and so there's like a lot of tribute to Fred Willard inside of that oral history that's really because he had like just passed away when it was published, but also the process that you learn about how Christopher Guest does this, that they shot it in 25 days and then he edits it for a year.
Yeah.
Right.
60 hours, right?
That's
north of 60 hours of
amazing.
footage. That's incredible.
Like,
even beyond how they write down every single scene and every single bit and they put it all structurally and then they just start chipping away at it like it's a jigsaw puzzle.
Yeah.
It's really interesting.
Yeah.
And they know they're going to have to lose a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
It's the opposite of our strategy where we just have long podcasts and we don't edit anything.
Is that a shot at House of Art?
It's a shot at all of our pods, including this one. We don't do any editing. Christopher gets slaving away for a year to get a 90-minute movie. And it probably could have been like there's a whole Parker Posey just gets stoned.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
that they
pills
cut.
and the weed.
Yeah, the weed.
I kind of want that cut, honestly.
And
I'd love to see that version
you
of
have it on DVD. Are there like a lot of good outtakes that are on
There's
this?
not.
No.
Okay.
I feel like and I don't know this to be true, but what I've deduced is that he's maybe we do it all.
Yeah.
We get the 60 hours, the however long, we spend the 8 months.
Yeah.
And then we have whittled the marble into its perfect form.
And you don't get to see the dust, the marble dust.
There's a lot of movie makers who have this philosophy that they're like, look, this is the finished product. If I offer you stuff we didn't decide should be in the movie, it's going to taint how you see the movie.
Yeah.
And there's a reason it's not in the movie.
Yeah.
So just watch this.
What do you think of that compared to like the Ridley Scott, here's my director's cut
As you
approach?
know, my theory is 99% of the time scenes are deleted for a reason.
Yeah.
Very rarely do you get like the Boogie Nights situation where there's like 6 or 7 like awesome deleted scenes where you're like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
That would have been awesome if that was in the movie. I think the better the filmmaker is, probably the better their content is. Stuff like this, I'm sure they have another 3 hours. There was an alternate Anchorman movie. I think Anchorman 2, there was a whole entire alternate movie of all the takes they had that you can buy. That when you get the DVD, there's a second version of it. So,
do you have? Is there a director's cut that you do swear by?
There's a couple good ones.
Blade Runner.
Boogie Nights is probably the standard for me.
Okay.
Yeah. There's some good there was some interesting Pulp Fiction stuff that they cut.
Yeah.
Wasn't mastered the same way, but but for the most part, it's deleted for a reason. Comedies, you'll see like the outtakes are really funny. Like they'll have those, like Tommy Boy has really good outtakes. They're movies they're not necessarily deleted scenes, but they're hilarious.
When they're cracking each other up. Yeah.
And I think this had a lot of that too.
Oh, I'm sure. Oh my God.
Can only imagine.
Guest said he got the idea because he was walking his dog near his house and it was a rescue dog. And he said, a woman with a pure breed of some sort came up to me and said in a fashion, what is that? And he said, it's my dog. He's a mix of this and that. And her expression was one of, not even that's not acceptable. Basically, that's an awful thing to have happened in the world. I was struck by how bizarre it was. And there we go. It's like the kind of superiority of the pure breed people.
Yeah, of course.
And then he just became fascinated by the dog show world, and we were off.
I love to adopt. I believe in adopting. We adopted Halo. We rescued him. I do always think though that like it can stray into blaming the animal for a thing that is not the animal's fault. You know? But the people. There's obviously a very rich satirical text here to mine.
We had 2 rescues in a row, and then Murph was we got from somebody.
Yeah,
because I was tired of the body language.
And
of the 2 rescues.
He's definitely the best behaved of all of your dogs.
And he turned out to be worse behaved than both rescue dogs.
My parents also bred the dog, and they had like
to
puppies.
Replace you.
Yeah, the dog that replaced me also they like did puppies and sold them and stuff like that.
So Levy said much wider appeal for this movie than the other ones they did because, quote, people just love dogs. Which makes me wonder, because we were always talking about, should we have a dog month on the Rewatchables? There's just not enough dog movies. You'd have to go into the Marley and Me, like, kind of area.
Must love dogs.
But it feels like there should be one that comes out every
all
year.
Of the
Air Bud,
like the Air Bud, you know, complete works.
Dog's Purpose is big. Simmons family has a lot of fans.
When you made me watch the Art of Racing in the Rain.
Another good one.
Yeah.
It's a sad one.
You have to watch this tonight because it's going to come up on Rewatchables tomorrow. I believe it was when we were doing draft day, and then it did not come up. But I did watch
Homeward Bound, An Incredible Journey.
Oh, I used to watch Homeward Bound like every.
The one with Paul Walker is good. Is it Snow Dogs?
Snow Dogs.
One of those. That one's
I've
good.
not seen that. Is it worth checking out?
Yeah.
It's weird that Netflix's algorithm hasn't discovered this yet. That people just like dogs.
Man,
they're gonna go on a
sure
huge dog run at some
somebody
point.
is being served a dog's
Homeward Bound.
bar.
8 Below is the Paul Walker.
Oh, okay.
8 Below.
But Snow Dogs is Cuba Gooding. That one was good too.
Yeah, that one's good too. See, a lot of good
stuff.
dog movies.
Well, you can definitely do a month on the Rewatchables, even though you're doing Best in Show right now. Look at that. Great news.
This is your favorite one of all the Chris guests?
Not even close. This is my favorite comedy, period. This is one of my 5 favorite movies of all time.
What is your single favorite thing about it?
Like a moment? Or
Just
an
everything.
essence?
Like if your single favorite thing about Best in Show.
My favorite thing about it is the absurdity. Like that heightened quality of capturing something that seems simultaneously impossible and yet really true to a certain type of life. And that is Christopher Guest's genius, obviously.
Yeah.
If you made me drill down beyond that, I would say, so my dad loves Christopher Guest. Like Christopher Guest's Bob Dylan impression is probably my dad's like platonic ideal of comedy. We saw this together. We watched all of the Christopher Guest movies together. I don't know that the Rubin household has laughed in a heartier and more fervent fashion than watching Cookie Fleck
try to walk.
the limp.
It might be the hardest I have ever.
I don't know how she did it. It's like one of the great athletic
feats.
She
said it's something her like dad used to do. It's like a funny walk her dad used to do, and they all learned how to do it as kids.
Me.
Yeah,
and it's. I mean, Busy Bee is a close second. Like Busy Bee was just a recurring bit of comedy in our house after the movie. I love it. I love it.
What would be your number one favorite thing about this movie?
This is not my favorite Christopher Guest movies. I think
Spinal Tap?
Waiting for Guffman is my favorite, just because I did a lot.
I
of
really
theater.
like Guffman too.
Yeah.
Well, plus it was first, and it was so original.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite thing about this is I like that it's as much a relationship movie as it is.
Yeah.
You know, because we're like checking in. All these people are like, are they going to be okay?
Yeah.
After all this, after everything that happens here, is everything going to be okay?
Totally.
And it is surprising. What about you? What's your favorite thing?
I have 2.
Okay.
I think Higgins and McKean are the. I can't believe how much joy I get from
So
every
good.
moment.
Higgins is so good.
If you only saw this movie and you knew nothing, you would think Higgins went on to be one of the biggest stars in the entire world.
I know.
Should have.
Like he's like, oh, this guy was on SNL for 9 years, right? It's like, no, not really.
Yeah.
He played David Letterman in a movie, did some other stuff, and was a character actor.
Yeah.
He's
unbelievable.
every single split second he's in, he's just like alive, and those guys are so good together. McKean had some quote like they figured out like he was the string and Higgins was the balloon, and that's how they kind of did it. And it was like that's
anchored
perfect.
him. Yeah.
So that and then Fred Willard is just so fucking funny. Like you can watch this movie 20 times, and he
might be my favorite thing actually. It's hard to pick.
When Cookie's out there, and he's like, she looks familiar. Like he's just sliding stuff.
Single best recurring through line of the movie.
That's the other thing that kills me.
It's so good.
That was the other thing that I thought was so impressive when I read that Ringer post was that they were looking at nothing when they were doing all of that commentary. That they recorded all the commentary stuff in one day.
Yeah.
And that the whole arena was empty, and it was just Christopher Guest describing what they would be looking at any given moment.
And then, so we should talk about that because the English guy was like the straight man that they told him study as much dog stuff as possible.
Trevor.
Jim Pittock as the straight man.
Who was only there for one day for the shoot. He had to like film everything.
So funny.
Fred Willard is amazing, but rewatching it, I was just like, I was watching Jim the whole time because it was just like his just micro escalation of frustration and annoyance masked in like British politeness. And like the camera's on, so I have to behave sort of thing. I thought it was incredible.
It's the highlight of Fred's career, and he had a really fun career, but I think this would be the first thing.
So good. I mean, he was parodying this parody on The Bachelor.
Yeah.
You know, until months before his death. Like, this is just such an iconic. I don't know if this is true, but I feel like if you asked 100 people, what's your favorite part of Best in Show? The majority of them would say Fred Willard.
Probably.
Like, that's like that emerged and transcended the movie in a way. Buff.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's
also
when did Dodgeball come out? Just like a couple years
after.
later. Yeah. Just like so just like thinking about the color commentary comedy bit in both of those movies, I think really had a lot of mileage.
Yeah.
Also, it made more sense in 2000 because there really were announcers, like at least in the vicinity of this guy, like doing baseball games and
no question
football games where you're just like, man, is this guy drunk? What's happening to this guy?
Good way to judge a woman.
Right.
Have her run away.
He's like, I'm more used to them running away.
Oh God.
The Chris Guest collection.
Yeah.
Which is all these movies. But I went back with him. I didn't really know him until I didn't see Spinal Tap till high school. But the first time I saw him he was on SNL for a year with Martin Short and Billy Crystal, and he was in when they loaded the cast. They did like the Yankees,
Murderers Row, Jesus.
and he did. His two best things was he was on Jackie Rogers Jr. $100,000 Jackpot Watt. And he played Rahib, which was like just this crazy character that was hilarious. But then they did the synchronized swimmers with him and Martin Short.
Yeah.
That was basically
a
a short version of one of these movies where it was like these two male synchronized swimmers, but Martin Short wasn't a strong swimmer and he had to wear a life vest. And they were doing the routines. And it was just like, I'd never seen anything like that. So then Spinal Tap was a big 80s high school movie.
Yeah, I love that movie.
And it was one of those like nobody saw that in the theater. It was like a belated on cable. It was like, what's this? And it just all of a sudden became a classic.
That's a movie that I was quoting for years before I saw it. You know what I mean? Like it was just in the
like
water.
Like a proto meme.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Same.
And then of course Princess Bride. He kills in Princess Bride.
Yeah. But then McKean ended up on SNL replacing Phil Hartman, and it wasn't good. I don't know what it was.
It wasn't the right fit.
Just
for him.
wasn't the right thing for him. Yeah. So then this is a big comeback for him. Movie was written by Gaston Levy, as we mentioned. 10.8 million budget, made 20 million. Roger Ebert, 3.5 stars.
Come on, Raj.
Raj.
What the fuck, man?
A wickedly funny mockumentary. He did say that.
Not enough character?
Built around the improvisational.
Well, not every movie can be Crash. Roger Ebert's favorite movie of that year. Did he give that 4?
Yeah, he did.
It was his favorite movie of that year, is what he said.
He did say the movie is consistently just plain funny and sometimes ascends to a kind of crazed genius.
Agreed. I would say the whole entire thing, all 90 minutes, crazed genius. Also,
to me, this is a 4
minutes.
star. This is a 4 star. The first time I saw it, I was like, this movie's in my life now.
No question.
It was an immediate DVD purchase.
Yeah, absolutely.
I hadn't seen it for a couple years. And I watched it twice in the last week and I was just fucking laughing. And I was laughing at different things during the two viewings. That was what was surprising. Anyway.
It's a tough one for rewatchables because every single scene is rewatchable.
I know. We'll take a break and then we're gonna do rewatchable scenes. This is tough.
Really hard.
I think I structured this correctly, but I also have too many already.
This is actually this is the only thing that's easy for me.
Really?
Actually. Yeah.
The rewatchable scenes?
You didn't write down every single scene.
I
started to be more disciplined as I got further into the film.
Well, so we'll start here.
Yeah.
The opening meet and greet, because we get Hamilton and Megan therapy, but then we go right to Jerry and Cookie Fleck.
Yes.
So I'm going to combine those two.
Okay.
And got myself in a position that wasn't very easy for me emotionally. It's called the Congress of the Cow, where the woman is bent over, the hands are on the floor, and the man is behind.
What did she do when she saw you?
She just stood there staring at us.
She didn't say anything.
Didn't say a word.
She was doing the Congress of the Cow?
Congress of the Cow.
When the
Got
dog
myself
song?
in a position that wasn't very easy for me emotionally. It's called the Congress of the Cow.
Did you look up the Congress of the Cow?
Not on my work computer.
Okay, but you did look it up.
Well,
I figured you would.
She describes
She
it,
describes
where
it.
the woman is bent over, the hands are on the floor, and the man is behind. I will just say right now, I don't know if I'm picking it for most rewatchable scene. I think this is in the running for best opening scene of a movie ever.
It's pretty the belated shot to the dog.
Yeah. You think they're talking, even though you know the movie's about dogs, you think they're talking about a human child who has seen and been scarred by watching them have sex, and then they pan to their sad dog on her chaise.
Yeah.
At therapy.
Super comfortable. Wine
This is incredible.
Weinmurmer?
I don't know how to pronounce that dog name, even though they say it
Never
multiple
really
times in the movie.
Dogs. That was never.
Poor Beatrice.
But then we go right to Jerry and Cookie Fleck.
This is iconic.
Who was very popular back then. Dozens of boyfriends.
Hundreds.
No, hundreds.
Yeah, hundreds. Yeah.
She was very popular back then. She had dozens of boyfriends.
Hundreds.
Hundreds.
Yeah, hundreds.
I did not know that. Hundreds. Well, not that I didn't have a reputation myself, because I was considered, by some to be quite the Casanova myself. Back at Ponce de Leon Jr.
Hundreds.
It's the pan down to the 2 left feet.
No, but wait, I was considered to be quite the Casanova myself, and they cut to like the ugliest picture possible.
With him like with the eyes crossed.
Oh my God. It's great. He looks like Austin Powers in that picture.
2 left feet. They used to call him Loopy. I don't know how you come up with 2 left feet. I don't know how stoned do you need to be? Like what?
That's a great. That is actually a great one to drill down on in terms of their creative process. How much is structured and known in advance, and how much is improv? Because like
that one
you
has to
want
be
to
known.
believe they know that because they're working toward Jerry's gonna have to be the handler, and he's gonna have to. He's gonna have to do that little loop to turn Winky around at the end.
They said that,
but still,
they said that they wrote complex backstories for all of them. So even though they're improving this movie, they have like the full backstory.
They knew exactly what it was like when Cookie and Bulge fucked on the roller coaster. They knew all of that. Bulge was the roller coaster.
Yeah, girl. Then I have
Cookie Googleman.
I love working with you.
Cookie Googleman.
I have meeting Scott and Stefan, and then right to Leslie and Sherry, where we get they're in the grocery store, the meat market. Having one of those pepperoni sticks out. I just want to hold it. He's just coming out of the gates on fire.
You can take the membranes off.
He was a wild man on campus. On a Friday night, I'd have 3 Saturday nights and go home.
And then the photo album.
Another flash to a great photo. Yeah.
Sensational.
I don't think there's a single second where they're not hilarious in this movie.
Oh
Even when they're like decorating their hotel room with the
when they brought
the thing on the wall,
their quilts.
He's like quietly hammering a quilt into a hotel room
and
wall.
he's got his little bleach tips and like a little ponytail
and
in
he's
front.
doing like his
thing
with his
Oh my god.
But then we go right to Leslie Ward Cabot doing a Joe Biden impersonation next to Jennifer Coolidge.
Wow.
We could not talk or talk forever and still find things to not talk about.
We both love soup.
He eventually became Blue in Old School. 3 years later.
This was
what a run for him.
This is a huge moment for Jennifer Coolidge, comedian, right? Like because she had already done American Pie, but like this was a completely different mode and level for her. She's incredible in this.
And everyone always says she was like during the SNL 50 stuff. I think she was one of the people that auditioned and didn't get it, where they were like, maybe, she was close. We couldn't get there. She was definitely something. Everybody knew she was something. She knew everybody. She was friends with everybody. And then it just happened.
I also love the like web of, Christopher Guest has his stable of actors, but I like that he recruits from she does American Pie with Eugene Levy. Right. And Eugene Levy's like, you got to meet Jennifer Coolidge. You know what I mean?
Yes,
like
the degrees of separation collapse onto themselves at some point, and then we get to hear Sherry Ann say, we love snow peas. What a fucking gift.
Will you have me stop podcasting when I get to my Leslie Ward Cabot stage?
No. I think honestly, by then you have to like put your mouth in the I think by then you'll just be able to beam a podcast into someone's mind.
Yeah, and you not talk about things for hours at a time.
Cool.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
We meet Christy Cummings. She's just a handler.
Yeah.
This is one of my favorite moments of the movie when she lays out the whole family dynamic. How she's the taskmaster like her father.
Oh my God.
Her mom's the heart and soul, and she was there with unconditional love until my mom committed suicide in 1981.
Worked for my family.
Just an unbelievable, and then it just cuts to the next scene. Unbelievable. And the two of them together.
Oh.
Just great.
Perfect.
Like it almost could have been its own show.
Oh, yeah. That
could have been an NBC sitcom in like 2002.
No question. The American Bitch spinoff.
Right.
I mean, running a publication together with Christy and Sherry Ann.
That's where we hired Mal from. It was American Bitch and
yeah.
Sports Illustrated.
Oh,
and
exactly. It wasn't Horse and
Hound. It's her first job.
Okay.
Intern in American
One day.
Bitch.
That's still the dream.
Okay.
That's still the dream. It is amazing now to like go back because Jane Lynch is such a
right.
indispensable part of our comedic fabric. And like,
I gotta say,
early
this
in the
is
Jane
how
Lynch experience.
I never saw her before this
No,
movie.
me neither.
No.
If she did stuff, I don't remember it. But then anytime I saw her after, I was like, Jane Lynch.
Yeah, of course.
Best in Show.
Best in Show.
And then when Glee
Mighty
happened, it
Wind.
was not surprising.
Yeah.
Well, Jerry and Cookie have dinner with their old boyfriend.
This
I
is
just gotta tell you
unbelievable,
guys,
this scene.
this is my pick for most rewatchable scene.
Is it?
It is.
I think this is a really good pick.
And here's why.
This is what I don't like this sequence. I know.
Can I make the case?
Yeah, do it.
Zach the son absolutely kills me.
Oh, Zach's great.
Playing with his parachuter, the guy openly flirting with her at the table while also talking about how he's a chief hostage negotiator. And
head got stuck in the gargoyle.
And then Eugene Levy getting mad and complimenting the wife on her beautiful luscious
Faye,
breasts or
I
whatever.
forgot to compliment you on your luscious melon breasts tonight. How does this sound? My favorite part is that when she's like,
and she's kind of pleased.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Oh my
Thank
God.
you. Yeah. Jerry.
But when they end up, when they go outside and the kids on the shed, it just kills me. And he starts doing his hostage negotiator.
Please, honey, this is what I do.
Don't be mad at him, please.
I'll gouge your left eye out with my thumb. I shit you not, you freak. You get down here right now. I'm gonna punch you in the eye till it turns to jelly. Get down here.
Look at him in the eye. Don't challenge him. He doesn't like it.
I'm gonna stab you with forks until you bleed. How about that?
It doesn't surprise me, Mallory, that this is one of your favorite.
It's not my pick, but I do love.
This is my pick. I love the kid on the show.
I love Max and Cookie. I think there's just the through line of Cookie's exes being so brazen with Jerry standing right there. Like, obviously, Max
she
is
must have
the
been
pinnacle
a dynamo.
of that.
No, but the other,
very memorable.
I think I prefer the other ones who just like randomly come across them in
Malcolm
the wild.
showing up at the party. It's just like,
or in the recording studio at the end.
That one's
like
the best.
all of that stuff is really good.
Great stuff.
I will stab you with forks until you bleed. How about that? Do you have any other rewatchables before we get to the pre-show party?
My number one is
no. I have a bunch more. Just in the sequencing.
Yes, couple more that we've passed in the chronology of the film already.
Well, we can go back after the pre-show party.
Yeah,
there's a Butch ice sculpture.
Yeah, the party's over when it melts.
Someone recognizes Cookie.
Yeah, that's our.
Should we do a ringer party?
Of a Butch?
Yeah,
and do an ice sculpture, and when it melts, the party's over.
We had an ice luge at the 2016 Ringer Christmas party.
Did you?
Yeah, back when we used to have parties.
Boy, what a night that was.
The Mint Julep. You were working as a waitress there. You were the best.
Yeah, I banged a lot of waitresses. That is so.
You were the best.
I banged a lot of,
but she's kind of enjoying it. You don't forget the best.
Yeah, you don't forget the best.
Absolutely incredible. But I love how she always keeps apologizing to Jerry. Like earlier when they went to the Birmingham, she's like, "Who's my future? Who's my future?
I'm with him now."
Yeah,
so good. Oh man.
I wrote down they can't find Busy Bee.
Which
Parker Posey performs like she's in a Scorsese cocaine film.
I think this is Shakespeare. The Busy Bee is missing.
Has this been you ever? With anything missing with Halo?
It's interesting because like Adam and I were rewatching this, and we were the two that we've skipped so far that I would nominate are Megan Hamilton Swan sharing their 2 Starbucks.
That's my number one.
That's just I think
and the
unbelievable
catalog.
Scene in the catalog conversation.
We're so
like
lucky
we're
to have been
people.
Raised amongst catalogs.
Ella Bean.
Absolutely remarkable line in the movie. I was such a huge J. Crew person then too. Still am.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
And then when they arrive at the airport, and they're screaming at each other, like Adam and I were watching this, and it's like, he's like, who are you more?
Scenes from a Marriage?
Yeah. Are you Meg or are you Hamilton? But he was just like, this is the experience of living with you. And then I think he walked it back a little bit as the movie continued. But that idea of just like blaming each other for forgetting the pet toy, something going wrong, building toward the Busy Bee is missing stretch where like Hamilton is completely
inside
crawling,
the crate. Yeah.
Like he's in a cave into the carrier looking for the toy. Just unbelievable stuff. Unbelievable stuff.
It's not in here. It's not in here.
It should be in the crate.
It's not in the crate. I just told you that.
God, Hamilton, if she doesn't get her toy, she's gonna flip out.
Damn it. It's not in here. You left it at the hotel. You go back and you get her Busy Bee. Go to the hotel and get Busy Bee. Run! Run! Go! Mommy's getting your toy.
You go back and you get her Busy Bee. Go to the hotel and get Busy Bee. Run!
Is it that, or is it her with Ed Begley Jr. and the poor woman who's playing?
That scene is where I think Adam was like, "Just kidding." I'm like, "Thank you." Yeah. It's like a little. Oh boy.
The pre-show party also has Harlan murdering the Swans when he's just telling some long, boring Harlan story, and they're like, and only drinks like.
And then Hamilton asks about his jacket.
Yeah. But it was great, like. Parker Posey preview for White Lotus.
I thought the same thing. Yeah.
Totally.
And then the "You must be very proud, Mary" joke. Then we get to the show. Fred Willard wants to know why they don't dress up the dog like Sherlock Holmes. See, it's that whole thing. Not quite a rewatchable, but a little mini thing.
Incredible.
All right. This is hard to do the end part, but there's a whole Jane Lynch part where she won't wear makeup, and they talk about that.
Yeah.
And then she tries to psych out Harlan. She's like, "Oh, look at this dog." And she's just like kind of
she's intimidated.
Little rough.
She's scared.
She's trying to like psych him out. And then it goes right into Fred talking about the Shih Tzu. And stewardess, can I take a Shih Tzu out of my carry-on? And that's when Trevor's starting to get frustrated.
I think that also on the Christy Cummings, Jane Lynch front, Michael McKean and John Michael Higgins, their reaction watching it on TV, not even before the kiss.
Yeah.
Just sort of like
mocking her outfit.
Her outfit.
Oil rig.
Yeah.
She looks like a cocktail waitress on oil rig.
Incredible stuff.
Some of Fred's stuff, he trained to be a priest. Be interested to find out what went wrong there, but that's a whole other show. He's just like ad-libbing all this stuff. He went on that run with terriers about how
the terriers, his terrier commentary is untouched.
Some
unrivaled.
countries those dogs might be eaten.
Yeah.
How do they make him miniature? That's the best part.
I thought that was a really good question.
Is there some process that they use to make them physically smaller?
He has a book idea for a woman bathing her dogs.
Doing it doggy style.
Yeah.
Yeah. You come up with the title. I'm not the literary guy.
But that's what Trevor's like. They breed them that way.
Would you put Meg buying a bumblebee at the pet store?
Oh, yes. Pet store scene is incredible.
Okay.
That's like historic.
It's not a bee. It's a bear in a bee costume.
That's a fish. The way that the quiet rage is actually terrifying to witness. And then I love when she selects the multicolored like rainbow.
It's a
rooster.
parrot.
Then she's like,
she's broken at that point.
It's like a bee of the ones that we have here. Her response to that is one of my favorite moments in the movie. I didn't ask for your opinion. I asked for a toy that you don't have. It's just like so good.
It is one of those where you think like she should have at least had an Aubrey Plaza type of career. Like she should have led movies and done.
Parker's done pretty well for herself.
Yeah, she's been like a
queen.
character. Yeah, indie queen character.
Yeah.
But this and White Lotus makes me think like, there's probably a couple more great roles in there.
Capturing that like abusive rudeness of a truly hysterical person.
Maniac.
Is like
she
has
a
that
maniac
skill.
as well as anyone ever.
She got actual braces for this movie.
I know.
Incredible commitment.
Yeah.
Or like you could argue just a perk. It's like I have to have the braces on
to
do the movie, and then you come out and you got beautiful teeth.
She's a key role in one of my favorite movies that we've already done in Rewatchables that nobody's seen. Kicking and Screaming.
I love Kicking and Screaming.
Yeah, she was the girlfriend.
Day Trippers.
Just screaming.
Really good in Day Trippers.
Screaming at Skippy. Couple more.
Yeah.
The dog attacks the judge, and Fred says he went after her like she's made out of ham. It's a shame to see that happen, but he's still a champion, even if he's set off in disgrace.
Like Shoeless Joe Jackson. It's remarkable.
Rhapsody has two mommies. We got to mention that one.
Yep. Great stuff.
More great Higgins.
He doesn't have a single miss in the entire.
No, he really doesn't.
No,
it's not even a no hitter. It's a perfect game.
It is
Nobody gets
a
on
perfect
base.
game.
The makeup is impeccable. His
How about
costume,
when he walks out and he's got that he's got the perfect stage thing?
Yeah,
fantastic.
They said he was training to be in this movie and actually was in a dog show and handled somebody and won.
You can tell he has actually mastered the technique.
Yeah, that he won. He had to like sub in for someone and then he just won the competition.
I was saying that my wife would have been good at this because my wife's a good athlete, but they're like Jane Lynch had that run.
Yeah.
You have to have this controlled run where you don't break stride.
Yeah.
The prance.
Like there's a certain athleticism that some of them seem to have. Jane Lynch was like great at it, but Higgins was good at it too. All right. The final 7, which I guess we can lump together.
Final 7. Most rewatchable scene. The whole movie.
I mean,
it's hard to
yeah.
We get the injury and the limp.
This is it. That's my winner.
That's
my winner.
Winky.
You're gonna show Winky. You have a concussion. You're not making any sense.
You think they know the championship's on the line here? Actual question from
That's
Fred.
Really good. Trevor's face in response to that.
Am I
is
nuts
hysterical.
or something wrong with his feet?
Yeah.
The proctologist joke. Yeah, I remember you said that last year. Do all the dogs bark the same? Jerry wins.
But that's what I love about the Trevor character is like that's his breaking point. That's the meanest he gets.
Yeah,
you said that
joke last year.
You repeated. You had the gall to repeat your shitty joke.
If you live in my neighborhood and you wear an outfit like that, you better be a hotel doorman. Fred's on just absolute fire.
What a
and
heater.
then Jerry wins. It's an emotion. It's like a real sports movie.
It is.
Does this count as a sports movie?
No
for you?
question. It's
Okay.
a literal underdog story here.
I think it does too.
Rhapsody
And they
going down.
had to win.
Yeah, this was like the fucking Chiefs not three-peating.
Shit, Craig, this is like quietly sports movie month.
I guess it is. Yeah. Wow.
We're 2 out of 4. Jeez, got to come up with 2 more now.
Snow Dogs left. That's a dog movie and a sports movie.
It's amazing. Rocky,
right,
then best. 6 months later is our last one.
Every single part of 6 months later is perfect.
It's perfect.
Every single part of it.
The therapy bookend.
Unbelievable.
Is the captain and the cookies beg for it? Would that be in your memorabilia things you'd
That
want?
that is my second pick in the memorabilia
Behind
category.
Busy Bee?
Behind Busy Bee. Busy Bee is the no-brainer memorabilia pick, but the fact that it's not just Jerry in his little captain's costume and Winky looks so cute and the hilarious name they've landed on. It's the fact that it's a cassette tape. Like, it definitely could have been a CD by this point, but it's a cassette tape, which is just a perfect touch. But I would have to pick
the
Busy
way
Bee.
that all the musical. I mean, I know they started with Spinal Tap, but the way that all the musical stuff in here feels like an audition for A Mighty Wind, which is another perfect film.
The song's like dun 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 bow wow.
Mallory's like, don't
got
try
it.
me, I've got the lyrics.
Some dish. Bow wow. Delish. Fantastic.
And then, of
Wonderful
course,
stuff.
the studio engineer knows Cookie.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not wearing underwear.
So good. His name being Bulge.
Yeah.
You've grown. I'm growing right now, girl.
And then Jerry's just like,
That's it. That's it for me.
Said.
I'm growing right now, girls.
And it's like, we can't do any better than this. It's like, no, we're actually going to launch American Bitch Magazine now.
oh my God.
Here we go. Focusing on the issues of the lesbian dog breeder.
Yeah.
And then Higgins and McKean are like, no, we're going to top that one. We're doing photo shoots of dogs in old famous movies.
Maybe that's
Gone with the
memorabilia.
Wind.
Spend a lot of...
The Casablanca one is my favorite.
Yeah, that's really good.
And then we end back in the therapist's office with Kipper doing some leg humping.
Yep. Good
And
old
now they're
Kip.
wearing colorful. They're
Yeah,
wearing
a lot
monochromatic.
of bright ringer green in their outfits. I have an observation from your run through of most rewatchable scenes.
I mean, I just basically did the entire movie.
You did it very light on Harlan Pepper.
I sure did.
Yeah, that stands out. Tell me.
Tough.
We can get to that later.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Okay. Sheesh.
Is it because you have a ventriloquism issue?
No. We can get to it later.
Yes.
So your most rewatchable was
I am
Busy Bee?
I'm so torn between Busy Bee and Cookie's injury. I think I have to pick the spirit of most rewatchable scene. I don't think I'm constitutionally capable of looking away if I know we're about to see Cookie.
Yeah.
I think that has to be the pick.
Why didn't Cookie's injury become like one of the best Twitter memes to use anytime somebody like had like a dumb injury in sports?
Great question.
I don't know what
It's
we're
not
doing.
too late.
Yeah, it's not too late. I don't know what we're doing. Joe, what do you have?
It's the Starbucks. It's
fantastic.
And the
Great pick.
catalogs. Yeah.
So ironically, that's what I had for my most 2000 thing about this movie.
Oh yeah.
That entire scene. People
catalogs
being excited about how they met in a Starbucks over the course of a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Being big being catalog guys and feeling lucky to be raised along catalogs.
Amongst catalogs.
And now do we have catalogs?
Yeah.
Yes. Didn't they have a little bit of a comeback?
I don't know.
I only get card
why
collecting
this happens
catalogs.
to
That's it.
me, but like sometimes
Yeah.
if I order something online, then all of a sudden
get
I
a
will get the
catalog.
catalog for the thing.
I only get like ones for like sports auctions.
Mm.
It'd be like new Lou Gehrig jersey collection
Have you
available.
ever ordered something from a catalog?
No,
No? Okay.
not recently.
Have you ordered something from a catalog?
Not
before?
recently.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Back in the day,
My
yeah.
mom, like the Swans, used to
Yeah.
love a catalog.
And you
Yeah.
give the number
Mhm.
of the item you want?
Yeah, exactly.
What's age the best? Mockumentary movies.
No question. Just as an art
Why
form.
aren't there more
As
of
a
them?
genre, yeah.
Craig, what the hell is wrong with your generation? Why aren't there more mockumentary movies?
Well, the Apatow era was very improv heavy. It's not a mockumentary, but I think they like evolved from probably the Christopher Guest stuff a little bit. Also, it's honestly really hard. I think there's not more of them because it's genuinely hard to pull off a 90-minute improv movie. Most improv sucks.
Can I summarize that? Craig just said, my generation is cowards.
When do you think that Craig, a married man who is a manager at this company and is in his 30s, will stop having to speak on behalf of all young
He's
people?
30. He's not in his 30s. He just turned 30.
Right, I'm basically 29.
You're basically
Okay, you're
his-
holding on
his
to it.
20s
Okay,
still.
Okay, you want it. You want that.
All right.
All right.
I have one foot in
Come
the
on.
grave personally, so.
Actually, you guys do some what's age the best, and I'll do mine at the end. What do you got, Joe?
Honestly, just everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that's like a bullshit answer, but I just couldn't single anything out because the whole movie's perfect.
It doesn't feel dated at all.
No.
No. This is the second rewatchables in a row for me where What's Aged the Best was basically everything, and What's Aged the Worst and picking nits. Two categories I normally love and have a lot of fun with were nearly impossible.
I didn't have any.
Before Sunset, and this is just like, I don't know. These are perfect movies that if we watch them 2,000 years from now, we would say are perfect movies. Mockumentary as a forum was my top one as well. I think you already said this, but parodying crazy pet people. Like, we're in the era of
social media is taking it to a whole other level.
The
You
pet
can't even
memes
parody
and
it
posts
anymore.
and-
Like social media is pet people.
I think it also just like launched people's interest in dog shows in general.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The way that like spelling bee documentaries launched that,
And like
craze.
rounders and
Yeah.
poker.
Yeah.
Catherine O'Hara and Eugene Levy as a comedic duo. I think that's a real What's Aged the Best. Obviously, everybody in the movie, their comedic brilliance holds up, but I'm wearing my Schitt's Creek sweatshirt today. And like, we have been so fortunate to spend so many years in so many different properties with them
Going
together.
back to SCTV.
Yeah. And it is just this like really rare thing where you can trust is hard to build and maintain, but you can trust in the two of them together in something. And like revisiting that is just like such a gift. And I think that the Roses from Schitt's Creek they're modern icons, but it's tough to top the Flex. It really is tough to top the Flex. I think also the Swans really aged well as the cruelest caricature maybe in the film.
A yuppie examination.
Yeah, exactly. Scott aged well. The Odd Couple broadcast booth. That's a real What's Aged the Best.
It feels like it's been ripped off in other movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You
I
know
have
what
a
else
couple.
aged the best,
Oh,
Bill?
go.
Rhapsody losing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true.
Right?
It's like the Patriots in 07 and the giant favorites.
You said it, man.
I have What's Aged the Best. Just Busy Bee being this toy
No
that
notes.
dominates everybody's life is hilarious.
So good.
A dog on a treadmill, I think, is now a real thing. I
Yes,
think that's
correct.
aged the best just in general. Eugene Levy's weird teeth commitment.
Oh my God.
Just like how far he'll go. He'll go like cross-eyed for
Yeah.
It just
10
seems
minutes.
so
He'll wear like
uncomfortable.
crazy things in his
Yeah.
teeth. I have for What's Aged the Best the Spinal Tap callback by
Yes.
Ed Begley Jr.
Yes.
About the rock band trashing their room and
Yeah,
roasting
they
a goat.
didn't know there was a toilet in the room.
And Begley Jr. is so good in this.
He's really
He's
great.
so good in this.
He's trying to sell the utility closet
Yeah.
as like a comfortable place
Yeah.
to stay for
Well, the
48 hours.
kitchen's right
It's
next door, so don't worry
funny.
about it. It's fine.
The AM Philadelphia guy, when they're about to go live,
Yeah.
he goes, energy.
Yeah.
It's
I
great.
thought that was good. Bratwurst and shillelaghs, paging Dr. Freud. I don't know why that's so funny.
Scott.
Yeah.
Annoying coffee orders, which this movie
yeah.
ties into, but now literally everyone has an
Yeah.
annoying coffee order.
Yeah.
But the Swans are talking about
Grande
whatever their
espresso,
thing.
and I thought that was
And the
really
soy.
sexy.
The
Yeah, the
soy.
soy. And her face when he's
Yeah.
like, because I'm lactose.
And she's like,
intolerant."
yeah, you are. Yeah.
And then
Oh,
Posey
God.
said this in the oral history about Willard,
Mm.
seeing him and waiting for Guffman, just smoking a cigar in a folding chair, looking out in the empty street and just coming up with brilliant, funny stuff. I'm in awe. We would all just sit and watch him just double over. He had pages of legal pad of just bits. I have another thing. I have another thing. I think he's one of those rare guys that people, he was just like a comedy fountain.
Yeah.
You're around him.
Yes.
It's just like, just
And
shooting.
this is what he does best.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Like
Just
does better
unleash
than
him.
most people, and it is the thing that he does the best.
Yes.
I didn't have a Great Shot Gordo award unless you guys have one.
It's not a cinematic.
It's not a, it's, yeah, it's
but I
documentary,
will say the like zoom in on Jennifer Coolidge and Jane Lynch
That's
during
my
this
pick
mooch.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great
Because
mockumentary
we're
moment.
watching it through
Yeah,
TV with
yeah,
Scott
and the camera's
Stefan.
catching
That's
it.
my pick
Yeah.
as well. Yeah.
What do you have for Big Kahuna Burger Award, Best Use of Food and Drink? Because I have her complimenting the food as being like cafeteria food.
That is also my pick.
Yeah.
I know it tastes better, but it looks like cafeteria hot plate food. It's either that
Definitely
or,
an insult.
It's either that or the popcorn.
Yeah,
popcorn, right?
or I would say the like whatever frozen yogurt thing that Jennifer Coolidge is eating at the end when they're talking about American Bitch. That she's just sort of like they're in an interview and she's just
Right.
like going to
Yeah.
town on this froyo.
Yeah.
That's a good
or
one.
the meat counter scene. I know you
Yes.
guys already talked about
Yeah.
it, but that you know.
Wonderful stuff.
Oh, that's a
the
good one.
kidneys, the
Yeah.
pepperoni.
That's probably the answer.
Poor
because-
Randy the butcher. My God.
Randy was not enjoying
No,
it.
he was not. I think the thing about the extra large bucket of popcorn is just the specificity of half butter, half salt.
Yeah, half salt.
Half
Mm.
butter, half salt is really amusing.
Yeah.
Kid Cudi Pursuit of Happiness or Best Needle Drop. It's one of the two songs. Would you go Terrier song or the other song?
I love God Loves a Terror.
Yeah.
loves a terror.
Small, sturdy, bright, and true.
The
They
one
give
lady's
their
tearing
love
up.
to you.
She's really getting emotional.
Yeah, they're so moved.
Chess
think it's that
Rockwell
one.
Brock Landers Award for Best Character Name. Stefan
Bulge.
Vanderhoof.
It's Harlan Pepper.
It's Bulge.
God, and Bulge is my runner-up, but
You wouldn't go Stefan Vanderhoof?
no.
Also,
Harlan Pepper is incredible.
we haven't mentioned Bob Balaban, and I would say Theodore W. Milbank III is pretty good.
That's pretty good.
And we have to do a human and a dog. We have to pick both because of the nature of the movie.
Oh, it's Rhapsody
in White
It's
slash Butch.
Yeah, it's Rhapsody in White,
sensational.
obviously.
Yeah.
Harlan Pepper kills me.
Yeah, dog with 2 different names is great. All right, Joanna, you have a flex category.
Okay, mine is it's a book about medals of war, belatedly best quote or exchange. This is just like slid in the backstory when we're first meeting Michael McKean's character, and he says, I was a hairdresser about 14 years, and I went to a show and I saw his nibs here having his way with a borzoi, and I asked my ex-wife, who's that? And she said, that's Scott. I was a hairdresser for 14 years. I asked my ex-wife, who is that? That's Scott.
It's rich.
A lot
of context.
A lot in
Yeah,
one line.
That's a great,
Good
great
call.
pick. Great pick.
Butch's girlfriend award for the weak link of the film. You don't have to pick. You don't have to pick a weak link.
Okay, great.
Do you have one?
You think it's Christopher Guest as Harlan Pepper?
I don't.
You don't
Harlan
want to
Pepper
say
doesn't
it.
make me laugh.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
quite fast forward over him, but I kind of get the joke immediately.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of work.
I think the nut monologue is really good when he's just naming nuts. I
I
think
would have
that's
scaled
really
him
funny.
back and just put more of Higgins and McKean in it.
The ventriloquist stuff is my least favorite of any of like
Yes.
the prominent
correct
cast members.
Because it's funny because in Guffman, he's the funniest guy in Guffman.
Yeah.
And then in this,
Corky.
I almost think
Oh
he
my
was
God.
trying to zag really super hard the other way. And I just remember even the first time I saw this movie, I remember being like, huh.
But I just love so much that
Weird
he's like
choice.
matching the bloodhound energy.
I
That he's just
know,
like a
and-
human
Well, the
bloodhound.
accent's great too.
Yeah.
I like this too, buddies.
Yeah. What do we think like the
But I'm
the
picking-
rat
this
lifts
is a
think of his
nitpick.
accent? You know, have
Oh,
the
yeah.
rat lifts ever made their way to the fishing hole in
True.
Pine Nut, North Carolina? I have a lot of affection for Harlan Pepper for a couple reasons. One, we're watching the swans scream and scare their dog, and like Harlan Pepper has such love in his heart for Hubert. When we get to see the photo album full of the little baby puppy photos of Hubert, that's so cute. And he doesn't just call him loyal, he calls him noble. I just love that.
Do you think he comes back and wins a couple years later,
Definitely
as was predicted?
And yes, I think
by
no
Trevor?
question. And that's kind of, I think, a necessary.
So like how Rufus is still my screensaver.
Rufus,
Yeah, buddy.
He's not alive anymore.
Rufus.
He just dropped dead one night. I don't have any What's Age the Worst.
I had to try really
I really
hard
like every
to
part
come
of
up
this
with a couple.
movie, and I don't know. I
It's tough.
don't know where you go.
I got one.
Okay, let's hear
Well,
it.
actually, two. I had the Harlan's ventriloquist act as one. This is so minor. I was really grasping for something here, but we have a couple interstitials with the Mayflower Brass. The aforementioned Mr. Milbank III, Graham Chisholm. I even though it's only a few total scenes, I don't want any time going to those characters.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, I think more time with
The
the Fab
curtain-
Five,
the curtain moment,
raising,
yeah.
all that. That's kind of it, though. Like, I would rather the Taft Hotel stuff is all great, so I think there is value. You know, all of our time with hotel manager Schaefer is wonderful. I think there's value in being with somebody other than the dog handlers and owners, but like maybe give us the judge. Give us a judge as a character. You know,
Yeah.
what does Everett Bainbridge actually think? That's kind of it, though. It was really hard to think of too many other things here. Did you
I
have
could have spent more time at the party with the melting ice thing.
Yeah.
Party was great.
Yeah,
Coulda-
they
coulda
cast.
done 2 more minutes
I'm
there.
sure Everett Bainbridge, who you mentioned, is played by the legend Don Davis, and I'm sure there's stuff with him that they
Yeah.
cut because why
Mm.
else do you cast him to just be in the distance for a part of the movie?
Ruffalo Hannah Rubinick Partridge overacting award. I think Hamilton cruises to the win here I think he dials it up the most.
Hitchcock,
You go get Busy Bee!
Yeah.
You go get him!
Run!
Hitchcock is not my favorite in this.
I have some other thoughts for him
Oh, interesting.
later.
Okay.
Okay.
That's my pick as well, but I think, again, not as a demerit, because dialing it up, you know, to 99 on we're normally operating on a 1 to 10 scale is sort of the point of the Swans.
He's also navigating. So Parker Posey got actual braces. He
Yeah.
got like special retainers made, and so he's talked about how he was like trying to not lisp around the retainers he had for his adult braces. So I feel like I've seen Hitchcock be better in other things.
We're going to take a break and then do Mallory's flex choice. All right, Mallory, your flex choice is...
I will be doing, did this movie have a porn parody?
Did it?
I don't know, but I'd like it to. And it should be called Best in Blow. And...
Okay.
Not American Bitch?
American Bitch, also a great... Maybe it can be an entire franchise.
Not Breast and Show.
Breast and Show, also a great one. I think this is just proof that we need the porn parody. Best in Blow is, of course, a Philadelphia convention for oral sex. And
why'd you say, of course? Like, I didn't know that.
Sex technique. And the great news is, much like the Mayflower dog show, both of these can be in part about grooming technique.
And also Cookie wins both.
Cookie definitely wins both.
Okay, great.
No question.
Best in Peep Show?
Also strong.
Yeah.
Also strong.
Craig, don't go on your work computer. You just made me think that AVN, the when they have that porn weekend, it's like the convention.
Yep.
I went to it because we shot a segment for Jimmy Kimmel Show when I was a writer.
Yep.
And that could have easily been a Christopher Guest World.
Why isn't it? Or like
there is still time.
I mean, I know he made
insane.
mascots, but why is the furry convention not been made into a Christopher Guest movie? You know,
I don't have an answer for you. I didn't have in the rundown the Mallory Rubin Award for did this movie need a better sex scene? Because there is no sex scene.
No, I mean,
but it's
I guess
also a PG movie. A sex scene would have been
you don't
weird.
want to see the swans.
That would be the pick is like
more athletic.
Yeah,
there's an
swans
R-rated
going
version
through
of
the
this
Kama
movie
Sutra.
where she's smoking pot and we get a sex scene with them that I don't know.
Yeah,
if
that's
it's
how we meet
better or
Kipper
worse.
at the end. Is like they're actually workshopping a new page in the Kama Sutra, and then we pan to Kipper, who's like, "You're crushing it, Mom and Dad."
Right.
The other thing for
Congress of the cow.
That's old hat now. The other thing would, of course, be like flashbacks to all of
Cookie's
Cookie's sexual exploits.
Actually, I think that would have been great.
That would
you
have been
don't even have to make
Cookie
it like
on the roller coaster.
You don't even have to make it explicit. Just sort of like,
that would have been wonderful.
Yeah.
The CR thinks Luke Wilson could have been Harrison Ford Hottest Take Award.
This is hard.
If you don't have one, you don't have one.
Okay, we feel of two minds about this, but like, what if this had been a TV show instead? What if this had been a miniseries?
I went further. Did Chris Guest leave like $200 million on the table?
Yeah.
He had this.
He had the footage.
Curb, The Office, all this stuff. What if he had just gone dog show, TV, sitcom,
Oh my God.
or HBO? Because HBO was around in 2000.
I mean, because you like every year there could be new contestants in.
That's right.
The dog show.
Yeah.
Now, would it have worn out its welcome? Possibly. And is it good that we have this like 90-minute perfect jewel?
So my only thing with that is I think Cookie and Jerry have to be in it every year. And I think
agreed.
I think Stefan and who did
Scott.
Higgins play? Scott. I think they have to be in it every year. Maybe everyone else changes.
Scott and his kimonos.
Oh, I guess Coolidge and Jane Lynch have to be in it too.
That's the thing.
So it's just everyone but Harlan Pepper.
Harlan Pepper is just somebody else the next year.
Just hold the pepper.
Yeah,
and
maybe hold the pepper.
Okay.
Harlan Pepper.
But yeah, it does feel like there was. I mean, I'm sure these movies that are right. This movie made $20 million, so it made some money back. But there was some giant TV idea with this world.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
all these people he had access to.
No question.
Casting what ifs couldn't find anybody.
Neither could we. Nope.
So best that guy award. There's a bunch of them in here.
Yeah.
The guy who plays Leslie Ward Cabot, who's also Blue and Old School.
Yeah.
I did not know his name. I had to look it up, and he's an all-time that guy. His name is Patrick Cranshaw.
Great.
And I don't know how you top it.
I was going to throw out Malcolm Stewart, who plays Malcolm, one of Cookie's many flings.
What about Rachel Harris, who's like been in like The Hangover and a bunch of stuff, and has like a tiny role in this as like
that's a good one
as their friend at the backyard barbecue.
I didn't even notice her in that. Oh shit, that's a good one.
Yeah, I like that one.
And Bob Balaban's Bob Balaban.
Yeah,
I feel like he's not.
Yeah.
Don Davis, Davis, who we mentioned, who was like one of the judges, is like famous from Twin Peaks. Yeah. He plays Scully's dad on X-Files. Like he's been around.
This movie is all that guys and that girl.
It is.
Because like Larry Miller, the one whose son goes on the shed, he's kind of Larry Miller, but he's also a really good that guy.
Yeah.
Deion Waiters Award, Larry Miller's one of them.
That's the pick. Max Berman.
I'd like to also offer you Leslie Ward Cabot, even though he doesn't have a line.
Okay.
Harlan's two buddies in Pine Nuts. I was kind of into it. That was my favorite Harlan part.
Will Sasso is Dale.
Yeah,
don't forget that funny tape I told you about.
He's like, if you get tired, pull over. If you get hungry, eat something. I want to shout out the pet shop owner because, like, to be able to hold that together opposite what Parker Posey's doing, and
actually an incredible achievement.
Yeah, remarkable.
Yeah.
Recasting Couch Director City. What do you got, Mel?
Does this need to be Philadelphia? With apologies to CR, like, is there any Philly specificity in the movie?
Where would you put it instead? Baltimore?
Sure, why not? Yeah, fuck yeah, let's go to Baltimore.
I think it needs to be someplace like high toned, so like a Boston or a Philadelphia, the like
New
old
York
money
is maybe
America.
Too obvious. I don't know. There's no actual.
I'm gonna win this category.
All right.
Parker Posey's husband in this movie we've already mentioned.
Yeah.
Hitchcock he's fine.
Yeah. Wonderful.
Will Ferrell is right there.
Oh my God.
Will Ferrell and Parker Posey together as the Swans.
I can see him screaming, but I'm not sure I can see him in like the uptight.
Oh, he can definitely do that.
I mean,
he did that
but like in
SNL.
what?
I think he can do it. He did in a bunch of the sketches where he had an uptight character he used to play.
I just feel like he always has a twinkle in his eye, which like is not
right.
But maybe that needed it though.
Hamilton's like a real drip.
Yeah, Hamilton sucks.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't think that Will Ferrell ever sucks. The screaming would have been better.
Thoughts?
I love Ferrell. I thought Hitchcock was really good for what the role called for. I think Ferrell could have done it. It's just a slightly different character.
It would have been like a little moment like Hamilton talking about whether to change, you know, but he likes the way
mock turtle.
Should he go to the mock turtle? But this like burgundy really matches with the slacks. Like Will Ferrell would have made it.
It's also hard because we're using what we think of Ferrell now. In 2000, Ferrell was not Ferrell yet, so maybe it would have worked.
Yeah.
I love the Swans.
I already did my flex category, so we got to keep going. Half-assed internet research. Filming took place in Vancouver and LA.
Mm-hmm.
They had to stage their own dog show because no dog show would let them do a dog show.
That was interesting.
They had to organize the whole thing. I think that's where some of the budget went.
But like some of the judges had to have been like real dog show judges. You know what I mean? So like,
I guess like all
Westminster
of the
did not want them there.
I guess they're like, because you're mocking us.
But they're celebrating.
But they are.
Christopher Guest doesn't even like the phrase mockumentary.
That's right. That's right.
He gets a little precious sometimes. Fred's character, Buck Laughlin, was based on Joe Garagiola, who was an old baseball announcer from the 80s and 90s and had done the Westminster show.
Yeah.
He shot his whole part in a day and a half. Was specifically instructed by Christopher Guest not to research dogs in any way and just go completely blind.
You can tell.
Whereas Jim Piddock had to learn everything about dogs so that he could like respond with actual information.
So funny.
The first poodle, first Rhapsody, and got fired.
Yep. Wild. How embarrassing.
Because the first Rhapsody's handler was a piece of work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know the Brandy Booth Award is not one of our categories today, but who would you have given it to?
I mean,
best performance by a pet?
I mean, Hubert's amazing.
I will make the case here that it's Beatrice. Because that's the most range is required.
That's true.
To play Beatrice. Not my favorite, but
I should have put Brandy Booth in there. Why didn't I do that?
I love
that
you
working as a
love
team.
Hubert and you're not into Harlan Pepper.
I loved Harlan Pepper. It was just a lot of the same joke.
Yeah.
Guest said in the research, Fred Willard makes a joke when the person handles the dog's testicles.
Yeah.
But they found out why they do that. Did you know why they do that?
Yeah.
Because they want to make sure.
They didn't put fake testicles in there.
Apparently some dogs will have one testicle and they get disqualified. So it's got to be double balls. Who knew?
But then sometimes they would put a fake testicle in there to sort of like, so I just wanted to speak to the people who craft fake testicles.
Fake dog testicles,
for dog shows. What's the application process
That should have
like?
been in the sequel.
Also, why are we shaming dogs with one ball?
That's what I was going to say, Craig. All of these elitist assholes.
That's what dog shows
Let
are.
them compete.
Yeah.
That's what dog shows
Let
are.
your one
elitism.
bald dog be proud and free. Good Lord.
Higgins said he's like a big voice guy and he forms vocal groups on any movie or TV show he does.
Yeah.
And he got a good one going on this he said Jane was the soprano, Catherine was the alto, I sang tenor, Gene did the bass. You get really bored in the set. Higgins just sounds like an MVP. I thought he was great as Letterman. I love The Late Shift. That's one of my favorite TV movies. He's awesome in that.
He did really good. Legend of Korra did incredible voice work for that.
Wonderful.
Yeah, he's had a really good voice work career, but he should have been in everything.
Yeah, he should have.
Talk to Daddy.
Apex Mountain.
The best. This is hard. This is hard.
I think for Guest it probably is.
Oh yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
I feel like he had the most juice after this. Because this movie, even though it only made $20 million, Fred Willard's tough because he was on that show in the 70s with Martin Mull. That was like a pretty massive comedy hit. Fernwood something.
What about John Michael Higgins then?
I think it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think if probably at this point, if somebody mentions a movie to him, it's probably this one. Would be my guess. O'Hara, no, but I don't even know what. I mean, she's.
It's almost impossible to
It's
pick.
probably Home Alone.
Or Beetlejuice.
I mean, she's the
Schitt's
mom
Creek?
in Home Alone.
Schitt's Creek, where
Schitt's
she
Creek?
won Emmys for.
I mean, Moira Rose.
She's the mom in Home
is,
Alone. It made like $700 million.
She's the mom in Beetlejuice.
I was thinking about this because Schitt's Creek is one of my favorite
somewhere
recent shows,
80,
and
90,
Home Alone is
89,
like,
90 range.
yeah, she just is. How many people can compete?
After
honestly?
Hours?
Yeah. Jeez.
Never on SNL. Showed up. They hired a new head writer. The guy was acting like a crazy person and just went back to Toronto. She was in like the second year of Eddie Murphy. John Michael Higgins, yes. McKeon.
No.
It's not. It's probably
Better Call Saul.
Saul. Yeah.
Still haven't watched it.
Which also starred Ed Begley Jr.
Jennifer Coolidge.
White Lotus.
I think White Lotus.
It's White Lotus
She's
or
doing
it's Legally Blonde.
She's
People-
doing commercials now.
Yes.
White Lotus
I think it's White
propelled her
Lotus.
to a level of like rediscovered fame and relevance that I think is
But Legally
inarguable.
Blonde, people
Yeah.
imitating her scenes from Legally Blonde is sort of like what made her this sort of
You know,
figure.
you do this sometimes, but Coolidge is a rare, like maybe there is more than one Apex Mountain. Because the time gap is so big between them.
Stifler's mom was
Yeah,
one of the
Stifler's mom.
iconic
Very
late 90s
important.
characters.
No doubt.
important.
And there was even a song about her, an alternative song that I forget who did that one, but it became
Not Stacy's mom?
no, somebody had
There's
Stifler.
a Stifler's mom?
I thought there was a Stifler song. Or was that Stacy's mom?
I think it's Stacy's mom has got
Was
it
that
going
about
on.
Stifler?
No.
I'm mixing up.
But maybe there's a Stifler's mom parody set too. Stacey's
I thought
mom. Could be.
Stifler's mom was in something. Fred Willard, we said no. Dog shows?
Sure.
Maybe. I mean,
I think so.
or the actual Westminster Dog Show.
Roasting a goat, definitely. AM Philadelphia, 100%. Terror songs, yes.
Pet People movies?
America Bitch Magazine, yes. Pet People movies, yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Jane Lynch, got to be Glee, right?
It has to
It's
be Glee.
Glee.
No question.
Kimonos? Just kidding.
How about Posey?
Oh, man.
Oh, that's tough.
Hard.
I feel like part of the frustrating thing about her career is that there was never an Apex Mountain. It was
There's
always like,
Party
I love
Girl,
Parker Posey.
Party
Right.
Girl, House of
Somewhere
Yes,
probably in
Dazed
the
and
mid-90s, she was
Confused.
the it girl.
Dazed,
Yeah.
Yeah,
She is
somewhere in there.
unbelievable in this, though.
Yeah.
Unbelievable in this.
She's pretty great at Dazed and Confused.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
is.
She's so good
Yeah.
in Dazed and Confused. Guffman. She's great in Guffman.
Man, it's probably somewhere mid-90s. Cruiser Hanks.
Wait,
What?
what about Eugene Levy?
No.
It's Schitt's Creek.
It's Schitt's Creek. Yeah.
I
Or
wanted
Splash.
To, oh, yeah. I just watch Splash all the
No,
time.
it's Schitt's Creek.
I'm just
Because you also have your kid in the same thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
and they're
also got
making,
credit for
like-
that as
Yeah.
the
Yeah, yeah.
Apex.
I wanted to ask you this
Yeah.
because you are a comedy expert.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Comedy ensemble cast?
Oh, for a movie?
Oh.
What do you think? It's at least in the
It's
conversation.
in the combo.
It's in the top 10.
Yeah.
So who's the competition for this? Anchorman?
Yeah.
Bridesmaids?
Bridesmaids? Yeah, it's a bunch of Apatow movies,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah.
Trying to think 80s. Oh, shit. You should have texted that one to me. I would have wanted more time on that
80s
question.
is tough because you
This
got
is like when Amanda
high school
asked you
party.
about fictional movie houses.
Oh, yeah.
You were
Oh,
enraged.
I still don't have an answer to that.
Enraged.
Such a great question.
Because like 80s high school party comedies like have
Yeah.
a bunch of heavy
I
hitters
don't
in
feel
them
that
as
I have
well.
the expertise.
You got one,
to answer
Craig?
This.
Honestly, I think Anchorman's a really good one.
I think it might be Anchorman.
I mean, almost everybody.
So many
Sex
people on
Panther,
that. It's
you
like an
know?
entire
Wonderful.
decade of people who either were stars or became stars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's up there, though. Cruiser Hanks, what do you got?
Hanks.
Tom Hanks.
Yeah, Hanks.
Also
Hank-
from Pine Nut. Don't you
Who
think?
does Hanks play?
He'd be a great Harlan Pepper. And I
Yeah.
do think he could do Hamilton Swan.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I think he could have
Cruise
done
in this
McKeon,
movie
too.
would be, I don't even know. I
No, but
wouldn't
if
be
you,
able to
if you
process
take Hanks in the Black Jeopardy sketch from SNL and you put him in Best in Show, you have a great time.
Yeah.
Scorsese or Spielberg?
Spielberg.
Yeah, Spielberg. What role would Philip Seymour Hoffman have played? I thought this was easy.
I did too, actually.
Oh.
What do you have?
I had Stefan.
Interesting.
Yeah. What did you have?
I had Parker Posey's husband.
Hamilton Swan.
You just want to recast Hamilton.
Yeah.
You really want to recast
I think he would have
Hamilton.
been good with her.
I think maybe as much as I love Jim Piddock, Trevor Beckwith.
With an English accent?
Yeah.
That
I
would
really
be
like the
good.
Just
Hoffman
increasing exasperation.
That would be really
You
good.
know?
Craig, you get a flex category.
I'm going to go with the Dan Campbell scale for holy shit, are they really going for this right now? And it's when Larry Miller, the guy who plays Max, when he makes Cookie hand the dog off to Gary and then just kisses her right on the mouth in front of everybody. I was like, oh, damn. The
Wonderful
Cookie
stuff.
storyline.
Like dips her. It's
That's
great.
like 4th and 10 in the first. You're like, wow.
Cookie flex.
Cookie.
Picky nits.
I've
Again, very
I have
hard.
but
The utility
one.
closet's a reach. That one always jumps out of
But
me.
it's so
No,
funny.
I know they had to do it, but it's kind of
They also drove up in a Winnebago. Could
Yeah.
you not
and
just
it's like,
sleep in the
can we
Winnebago?
get room services in here?
Great question.
Could you not just sleep
Yeah.
in the Winnebago?
Can we get room service in here? It's like, you have $34. You're not getting room service.
I know.
What are you getting? Like
No.
peanuts?
I would say so. We get the Busy Bee in the hotel search.
Yes.
We get the pet shop scene.
Yeah.
And she comes back and he's like, "You've been gone for 30 minutes and you couldn't find it." I'm like, that.
Yeah.
She has to have been gone much
Impossible.
Yeah,
longer
that's like
than
2
30
hours.
minutes. Yeah.
That's a good point.
Agreed. Yeah, that's a great one. I will posit that Harlan Pepper of nut naming fame does not name that many nuts. Sure.
You wanted like 60 nuts?
Well, that's the thing.
Does
I
he
mean,
say hazelnut?
No, he does. He says peanut, hazelnut, cashew nut, macadamia nut, pine nut, pistachio nut, red pistachio nut, natural, all natural, white pistachio nut. Now, getting 3 pistachio nuts is impressive, but he leaves walnut on the table. No almond, no pecan, no Brazil nut, no chestnut. We're supposed to be impressed with this?
Aren't
That's true,
pine
there were
nuts
a lot of
technically
nuts left.
seeds? I think pine nuts are seeds.
This is why you're you.
I just want to go on the record with Harlan Pepper.
Yeah.
I like the character.
Yeah, that's clear. Yeah.
High usage rate was my only point. He's the only solo character.
Oh, you're like, Christopher Guest didn't do a heavy enough edit on himself.
Interesting.
I didn't want to say it, but I'll say it.
Okay.
The
He
point
could
about
have
the partner
seesawed
is
it a little bit.
interesting.
Everyone else is playing off somebody else, and he's always just kind of.
Yeah, I like that
It's
we
like,
have
okay.
a single pet owner there because that relationship is very special. But you're right that there's no other
It's
voice.
a
in
high
those
usage
scenes.
rate.
Did
He's
everyone
getting a couple
else
shots off.
find out that Christopher Guest was a baron while doing research for this?
Yes, I did not.
That he
know
had a
this.
seat in the House of Lords?
He has an official title.
What?
And
Yeah.
so does Jamie Lee
Yeah,
Curtis.
he's Baron Hayden Guest and she's Lady Hayden Guest.
Is this not astonishing?
What does that even mean?
His father was like the British diplomat to America and had a seat in the House of Lords.
My
And
God.
so Christopher Guest is like, I refuse to take the seat until they reform. And then they sort of did a bunch of stuff and now he doesn't really have a seat anymore, but he's still a baron. He's a baron.
I would have
And
taken
he's married
the
to
seat.
Jamie Lee Curtis. So he's winning,
Just like
stays winning.
Christopher
Take the
Guest,
seat.
Baron Zemo. So many
All
of the
the
greats.
barons.
That's a Marvel joke for you, Bill. Yeah, I
I
know
didn't
you
get
love
it.
Just for
Marvel.
Bill.
I'm
Yeah.
right over my head. One more pick and knit.
Mhm.
Are
Yeah.
we sure the Terrier should have won?
All right, so this is a big talking point.
Can we really get into this? Was that the best dog? Short legs. It's like whatever.
No, Winky's a great dog. I won't
Winky's
have
fine.
you besmirch Winky. I'm thinking from like the story perspective. What do we think we're building toward? Hubert. We think we're building toward Hubert. Now, I think the reason I like the Winky choice ultimately is because the movie does such a good job of making clear that Hubert is the dog of the future.
Yeah.
Like he will come back and
You're
he
so
will
funny.
take best in show without question.
Kinda like-
5-star prospect.
Kind of
But-
like Lamar Jackson.
Craig, we almost made it through a whole podcast
What?
without Bill being mean to me about the Ravens. For no reason.
Like
Haven't I
Hubert-
suffered enough?
Hubert won 3 MVPs, but never pulled off the dog show.
But also, doesn't Jerry need a win?
That's the thing.
after having been cuckolded the entire
And that's
movie.
why I think Winky is
True.
ultimately the choice. It's because it's just as much a Cookie Jerry family victory as it is a Winky victory. And they're so happy they really need it. They were staying in the fucking utility closet.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
I didn't like that dog
Now
the
they're
most.
celebrities because they got to do 3
would
radio
you
interviews.
It's
have
three radio
Hubert,
interviews.
Hubert win or?
I think
You
it's a
love
solid
Hubert.
point. He was a year away.
Yeah.
He's only 2.
Yeah.
A lot of great dog shows ahead of him. Sequel, prequel, prestige TV, all black cast, or untouchable. The Cookie Fleck prequel
No, my
sounds amazing.
Oh yeah, the
God.
sex the
Just
sex
Cookie in high
capades of
school?
Cookie.
Holy shit.
Cookie in like 1982, just running amok. Hey, girl.
Imagine.
It's like Fast Times at Ridgemont High multiplied by 80.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
The roller coaster episode.
Yeah.
The
waitress episode.
Oh man.
She's been a lot of friends. Is this movie better with Wayne Jenkins, Danny Trejo, Doris Burke, Sam Jackson? No. Byron Mayo, Barney Cousins, Tony Romo, Harley Mays, Chris Collinsworth, Daniel Plainview, Longlegs.
Oh man.
Or Wilford Brimley in The Firm. He's got 2 left feet, Jim.
I'm sad that Chris is not here to do Romo as one of the commentators. That's like.
I actually have a better option than that, though, but you guys go.
I genuinely think Danny Trejo could kill in this film.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because he hasn't done that much comedy.
Yeah, but like when he does, he kind of crushes, and I think he could just like take it really seriously, which is what Christopher Guest asked them to do.
Yeah.
And I think he could actually kill in this.
I was thinking Sam Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not in this, but in the sequel. But there's a Sam Jackson character that I think would be pretty great.
What kind of dog?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. We could go. Because one thing with the dogs in this movie, there weren't enough bigger dogs. We really
it was like a
only
whole
had,
category.
Yeah.
Right.
I just wish we had.
Yeah.
Because sometimes they'll have like freaking Great Danes and like giant ones. Like I wonder.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought Sam could have done good though.
I would really enjoy the version of this movie
Uh-oh. Wayne Jenkins.
set in Philadelphia where Wayne Jenkins just takes the Amtrak up to Baltimore and he's there with his Rottweiler and he would get into the most memorable fight with Hamilton Swan
Oh yeah.
backstage. Can you imagine Wayne Jenkins having to escort Hamilton Swan out of the arena? I just think that would be an absolute thrill. Didn't know we were dealing with Super Handler.
Yeah, you better go find Busy Bee right now. You're gonna be long with for a long fucking time. Just one Oscar. Who gets it?
Christopher Guest. Are we just talking performance? Are we talking about like
Can be anything you want.
So, would you do it for directing?
He wrote and directed this movie.
I think
It's his
screenplay
whole-
has to be like ineligible though because of what we know about the improv.
Best editing.
Best
Oh.
editing. Christopher Guest.
Craig!
Great call.
That's a fucking good one, man. You're riding that Sean Baker high right now. I know you
Yeah,
are.
yeah.
I want to make the case for Catherine O'Hara. I think that because there are so many extreme performances in the movie, I think she is actually doing something. It's all relative, of course, but kind of understated compared to a lot of the other really heightened caricatures. And it is
You're saying that with
pitch perfect.
You're saying that
every
as a
scene.
with a straight face after watching her wobble her knee.
That would be the clip they'd play at the Oscars.
Do you want me to give you
gotta
the?
show Winky.
Do you want me to give you the best actress in a supporting role for that year?
Please.
Our winner was Marcia Gay Harden in Pollock, which is
Okay.
travesty. Judi Dench in Chocolat.
That was a Weinstein special.
Kate Hudson, Almost Famous.
It was Kate's year.
Yeah.
Julie Walters and Billy Elliot. And the person I think should have won, Frances McDormand in Almost Famous.
Frances McDormand has so many Oscars.
She's unbelievable in Almost Famous.
She is. Of course she is. Rockstars Have Kidnapped My Son.
Have you two talked about Almost Famous together?
We've a little bit.
Yeah.
He knows that
You'd go with Kate over Frances McDormand?
in that film, Penny Lane. Yeah.
Kate Hudson's great.
You can't do that Rewatchables without Juliet. She will never forgive you. Just get them both together.
Declaration of War.
No, the first time I ever talked to Bill about anything, you were at home and you had Almost Famous like ephemera behind you. You had like Stillwater stuff behind you.
Yeah.
And I was talking about Almost Famous, and you said to me you could never do Almost Famous on Rewatchables because it would
be the end of the feed.
Be the end of your team because people would quit if they weren't on that.
And we
pod.
might have to just do 2 or 3 different pods just released all at the same
Like
time.
the Heat, Reheat.
Like an alternate broadcast. When they have like different
Manning
announcing
cast?
teams. Yeah.
Frances
do like a Manning
McDormand
cast.
in Almost Famous is incredible, but I have this thing where like if someone already has an Oscar.
But she hadn't won it. Oh, she'd won one at that point. She won Fargo.
So for example, Timothy Chalamet should have won instead of Adrian Brody.
Absolutely correct. But like that was a pivot point in Kate's career. If she had won the Oscar that year,
A pivot point to do fucking rom-coms.
no, but I'm saying she wouldn't have had to do rom-coms. She could have continued to do
rom-coms.
She could have continued to
I
do
do.
incredible things like The Four Feathers.
I've enjoyed a lot of Kate's work. I just thought the mom's amazing in that movie.
She's so
I mean,
good.
she's
Yeah,
like
she's
every
fantastic.
moment
She's so
she's
good.
in that movie. She's
What a film. Great one. Who are you picking for your Oscar?
Russell Hammond. I'm picking Fred Willard.
Yeah.
For Best Supporting Actor. But I really like I like your that O'Hara take's really good. I almost want to switch my pick.
I'm with Craig.
Best Actor Supporting Role that year was Del Toro won for Traffic. Jeff Bridges for The Contender, who's great.
Yeah.
Who was like the perfect president. Willem Dafoe, Shadow the Vampire. Albert Finney, Aaron Brockovich. He's really good in that. And then Phoenix and Gladiator, which tougher category to crack.
Boy, that's a crowded field right there.
I like your I think Mal's right. I think that's the pick.
Catherine O'Hara?
I did the math I did
pick.
with myself was Catherine O'Hara for Oscar, and not to spoil it, but Willard for who won the movie.
So
instead of the Oscar.
The case for
I do
her
think
is
you
like,
could argue Catherine O'Hara again for that and Parker Posey for that, honestly.
Well, you also have to do the who else could have played these people game.
Right.
And I think those are the two that I think are like, I don't think anyone else could do what they do in the movie.
I think Levy too, Eugene Levy, like
Yeah, that's true.
and Parker Posey.
Parker Posey
and
too.
Jennifer Coolidge and Jane Lynch.
It's true.
Like it's just really hard to
Their wars are all so high.
Yeah.
It's a great movie.
You love it. It's one of your favorite baseball stats.
Yep.
Probably unanswerable questions.
Boy, this is a fun one.
What was Fred Willard's character's name? Buck Laughlin?
Yeah.
Was he one of the first Me Too's, you think? First wave?
I mean, Fred Willard himself had his own.
Oh, did he? I forgot that part. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Oh,
my God.
Posey. So Posey posits this in the oral history about how she wore all these capes and cloaks and beiges and all the colors that felt and looked like Beatrice as the movie went on. That's what's so fun about the movie is how people are like their dogs and they look like their dogs.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, I mean, Coolidge is like a poodle. Do you believe people start to look like their dogs? Unanswerable question.
I do, but more importantly, I think people tend to gravitate towards dogs that match their
I think it's that
vibe and energy.
Yeah, they pick the dog that reminds them of them in the first place because people are inherently narcissistic.
Correct.
And
You think that's what it is?
Definitely. Yeah.
Because I mean,
Do you
we've
think
had
your
all
dogs
kinds of
match
dogs.
your energy?
No, but I'm just used to golden retrievers because that's what my dad always had. But I don't know that that's really no other reason.
You do occasionally have golden retriever energy in a
What
positive
is that?
way.
In a
It's
happy
just sort
way?
of like, look how happy you were when I just said that. And you were like, I do.
They're great dogs.
Beloved by all?
Yeah.
What would be a bad energy dog?
Great Maine? Bad energy dog. I think all animals are great. Wow. Joanna was ready to just send a stray toward the Schnauzer
community.
I don't know.
See, little dogs, we'll never have another little dog. I don't like the barker. I don't like the bark.
A yipping.
Yeah.
A
The
yip is a
yippy
no.
bark is like I'm out.
It's tough.
Goldens are cool. Although we have one of the only like semi-unfriendly Goldens ever right now. But COVID dog. It's not
Goldens
his
have a
fault.
lot of like hair that gets everywhere. How do you manage that?
That's true. We comb them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The English Goldens are a little better.
Less hairy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
Everyone I know who has a golden, like their furniture or their
Covered.
cars are just like covered in fur
Yeah.
all the time.
You got to stay on it. Any other probably unanswerables for you?
A few. Yeah. I'd like to ask you for the Vegas odds, how heavy of a favorite was Rhapsody in White heading into this?
Like minus 400 on FanDuel.
Whoa.
2-time winner.
Minus
Whole
400?
armada behind her.
Christy-
most money behind
Christy
her.
Cummings.
Christy Cummings, best trainer in the country.
Okay.
They're
Heavy
they're
favorite.
schmoozing with the judges.
That's my next unanswerable question. So Buck says, let me ask you this. Money ever exchange hands? Trevor's, of course, offended and wounded by
course.
this.
Yeah.
But we saw Christy try to wine and dine
Mhm.
Yeah.
Milbank. So did money
Well, they also
exchange hands?
No, because Milbank was like holding the line.
But ever. Do you think Christy ever?
Well, they throw the party every year, which
Grease
is
the
no
palms.
It's
small
all kind
greasing,
of-
It is.
right?
It is.
Yeah.
Because they're
That's
doing
like
the
a
separate
$10,000
different
party with
yeah.
an ice thing.
Yes.
So
Did someone sabotage Cookie with the carpet? Did somebody put something down?
you
in
know, I
Cookie's
rewound
path?
that a couple times.
Yeah.
that fall comes out of nowhere.
It's a borderline nitpick because
Yeah,
it's like she doesn't even trip on anything.
It's
She's just
a
like,
bad
whoa,
fall,
it goes
yeah.
fine.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you think that was pure, not sabotage?
Yep.
Great. How many tapes did Jerry and Cookie sell? You think they're on anybody's Spotify Wrapped in the future?
I don't.
No.
You
I
don't
don't
think they
think it
made it
went well.
big?
But
Okay,
no,
but,
I think
do you
I
think
you
Scott
could-
and Stefan made it big with the calendar business?
Yes.
I think so. I think that's a home run.
Especially if in the future they did other people's pets. Like you can put your own pet in a calendar.
Joanna,
That's the business.
What a great idea.
That's the business.
Oh my God. So they give you the filter or the shell and
Yeah.
you can put your pets in the oh my God.
Yeah.
That's a $1 billion idea right there.
I'm sure it exists.
If it doesn't, get on it right after this. That's a great one. Did American Bitch last into the digital era? What do you think?
I had a Cookie tapes thing, though. I think she was on some tapes. They just weren't music tapes.
Yep.
I think there was some vintage stuff from the 80s that she
And
might
she
have
would
popped
be
in.
very proud of it.
Couldn't have been more pleased that they're
She'd
out
be very
there.
proud of it.
Some of her best work.
There's
What was
actually
your
a
next
Moira
one?
Rose plotline.
I love
about
that.
That sounds great.
Oh my God. We talked about already, but did Beatrice thrive without the swans? I like to think she did. I like to think that Beatrice went on and lived a full life.
Bill thinks she went to the farm.
I don't like that. What was Cookie's actual number? That's my last one for unanswerable questions. You know,
So
we got
she
the
said-
dozens, hundreds.
she said hundreds.
Hundreds. Do we think that's like
She said hundreds twice.
350 people? Like
Well, around about
214?
how old was Cookie, do we think?
In her 40s.
42, 43?
Yeah.
And how long do we think she'd been with Jerry?
Oh, it was like 8 or 10
They met at a
years.
dance.
Yeah.
So she early 30s. So that
Yeah.
gives her about 15 years.
Yeah.
Possibly.
15 years.
Yeah.
Go like 50 a year. So
I
we're in
mean,
like the 600 range.
That sounds low to me.
50
That's
a
one
year?
a week.
So what do you think it is?
But she's in a small town, though. At some point, you're going to run out
But
of
the
people in
fact
the
that she's
town.
like running into people
She's made her
across
way around the country.
Yeah.
I don't think we're limiting this to state borders.
All right, if it's
You
seven,
think it's 1,000? You think she had
if
1,000?
it's 75 a year for 15 years, that gets us to 1,000.
And I love that for
Wow.
her.
Good for her. She's
Yeah.
living a great life, and I'm thrilled for her.
Well, it sounds like she had like a trick. She had like a calling card.
You never forget the
The
best.
legs behind the
she was a
head
memorable,
move.
a memorable sexual
Something she
encounter.
was
That's
very-
that's clear. Yeah,
But then, Jerry Fleck
locked
took
it
her
down.
heart.
Locked it down.
With his
Knocked
two
her right
left
there.
feet.
It's kind of a Casanova himself.
Yeah.
What piece of memorabilia would you want or not want from this movie? It's clearly Busy Bee.
Has to be Busy
If
Bee.
I
If
brought
it's-
Busy Bee in right now and
I would
said I
die.
bought it from an auction 9
I would
years ago,
die.
you'd have a stroke.
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
die.
Yeah.
If it's not Busy Bee, it
Yeah.
might be the traveling quilt that they nail up behind their
Oh,
bed in the
that's a good
hotel
one.
room.
Yeah.
They're only there for 2 nights and they brought their quilt from home to
It's a
hang up
great one.
behind the bed.
Which
There's
is-
one other thing. The giant framed American Bitch
I thought you were
magazine.
going to pick that. Yeah.
It's a good
American
one,
Bitch,
too.
the
There's some
dog
good ones in
magazine
this
for
one.
Yeah.
women and their dogs.
Great title.
So good. Also, anything in the Swan household, everything they have there is like from the Sharper Image catalog.
Mhm,
So any of the vintage Sharper Image items in there, the massage chair, something
Yeah.
like that, the kickboxing dummy
It's very
that
scary.
you pointed out.
Very alarming. Yeah.
Coach
Not like
Finstock
that.
Award for Best Life Lesson. I mean, there's a lesson, which is we need more mockumentaries. The life lesson
Mhm.
would be, hey, even if you have 2 left feet,
Oh,
there's
that's
hope in sight.
That's really sweet.
really touching. I like that. I was going
You
to say,
never
if
know
you,
when you're needed in a dog show.
if you get the chance to fuck Cookie Googleman, you
Do
better
it.
do it.
What about always have a backup of your pet or child's
Yes.
favorite toy?
Yeah, don't leave home without
Oh,
Busy
that's
Bee.
really smart, especially going to a dog
Multiple
show.
Busy
You
Bees.
Yeah.
can never pack too many kimonos.
Correct.
That's another life lesson.
Yes.
Certainly.
We have this wishbone toy for Murph, and we have like 9 of them.
There you go. Yeah.
And then sometimes he'll just
Yeah.
triple down on the wishbones.
We do that with Hala's mint stick too.
Yeah.
Cannot
Yeah.
risk running out of a mint stick.
My youngest cousin had this like puffy, and there were like 9 different puffies, and they were
Yeah.
all bedraggled.
Because it turns out pets are dumb, and they don't know there's
No,
multiple versions
that
of the
is
same.
not true.
Best double feature choice?
Why not make it a marathon? Do Waiting for Guffman,
All 4
Best
of
in
them?
Show,
I had Guffman
Mighty
and
Wind.
this. I think you go Guffman here.
I like that.
If it's
I,
just 2.
if we're allowed to mix movies and TV, I would like to go from this right into a Schitt's Creek rewatch. But
We're not allowed.
All
Who
right.
won the movie?
I can't decide between
I think it's Higgins.
Higgins, Posey, O'Hara, and Willard. I just can't decide. They're all incredible.
For me, it's Higgins or Willard, but I think it's Willard because he's more known for how good he was in the movie than Higgins is. Higgins is like the stealth, I've seen this movie so many times choice.
Yeah.
But Willard's like, people kind of know this.
Yeah,
That's true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you see clips from this movie, it's him.
Yeah.
Or it's somebody mentioning him.
Yeah,
or-
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Big moment. Producer Craig, he's missed a couple. He's been traveling. He's busy.
And this is your
Busy
first.
Bee.
Oh, and this is your first time watching it.
That's right. Yeah, this is one of Liz's favorite movies, and I don't know. I can't believe I missed the Best in Show wave. I don't know why. I've like always known about it. I've always been circling it. Very happy I got to watch it. I mean, I thought it was hilarious. Every character is worthy of their own movie. Honestly, like you could have a spinoff for every single character. One thing I think this comedy does really well that most don't is third acts of comedies are usually the worst part of every comedy movie. And it's the exact opposite in this film. Like, I think it actually builds suspense and stays funny, which is incredibly hard, especially with improv. And I think in general with improv, I think it's definitely the purest form of comedy, and watching it work is better than watching something scripted work. It's like, I was telling Joe and Mal earlier, it's like sports, where watching professionals play sports is like watching professionals do improv, where the amateur version of it is truly unwatchable. Like, bad improv is terrible, but good improv is better than scripted comedy, in my opinion. So I absolutely love this. I do worry about, as Mal pointed out, I am 30. I'm not 20. So I don't really represent Gen Z. But Bill, I kind of think this comedy's for adults, not because of necessarily the subject matter, but I don't know if a 15-year-old, like, I think a 15-year-old would like Anchorman. I don't know if a 15-year-old would like this movie, and I don't even really know why.
I think you're right. It's a little bit more mature.
Yeah, but it's not even the subject matter. It's PG.
Yeah.
But for some reason, I don't know if it translates down to, like, teens.
The only thing I worried about it was whether, because the dog community is so weird and in so many different places on social media now, it's like people have a better handle on it.
Have
this movie
seen
seems
this level
less
of weirdness.
This movie seems less weird if you just are on Instagram Reels for an hour.
This movie made $20 million in America in the year 2000 with no big star in it. Yeah. Which is just like, 20 million is more than a Nora or a Brutalist made domestically.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my God.
That's wild.
Like, that's unbelievable.
That's great. Did you have any Rocky thoughts while you're here?
I mean, I love Rocky. I've seen it a million times. I do think it's like Austin Powers 1, though, where when you go back and watch it, you're like, wow, this is way slower than I remember it being in my head. And 2, 3, and 4 actually move a bit quicker.
Yeah.
Also, this movie is the greatest That Guy movie of all time, I think.
Yeah.
Best in show. It's Hall of Fame. Because I think, as you know, I think your guys' bar for who qualifies as a That Guy is way too fucking high. Like, Ed Begley is a That Guy. Like, every normal person in the world does not know it's Ed Begley.
Fred!
Come on, you guys got John Michael Higgins, Fred Willard.
Michael Higgins is a That Guy.
Yeah.
I would, even the average person, I would say, could not just immediately name Catherine O'Hara.
That is not true.
That's not true after Schitt's
We work
Creek.
at the Ringer. We work at the Ringer.
After
normal
Schitt's Creek,
people,
that's not true.
Maybe.
Well, no, he's making it's a fair case that normal people.
No, not after Schitt's Creek.
No.
Eugene Levy
Schitt's
and
Creek
Catherine
is
O'Hara.
one of the most popular, beloved shows of the last
fine.
decade.
That's
and
fine.
she's the mom
But
in
when
Home
this movie
Alone.
came out,
Absolutely,
when this movie came out,
Okay.
just not everybody
when
was
this
a That
movie came
Guy.
out. Yeah.
Everybody was a That Guy in this movie.
Yes.
Except for,
Yeah.
I don't know.
But we are recording this podcast in 2025.
I just always love when it's like, is Bob Balaban a That Guy? No, he's Bob Balaban. I'm like, there's no normal person who's like, that's Bob Balaban.
I love Bob Balaban.
Oh, man.
That's Severance star Bob Balaban?
It's valuable
Seeing
feedback,
Severance
Craig.
too?
Yeah.
All these people are That Guys. Wait, there's one more thing I saw, like researching this movie. Did you know that Ariana Grande is a massive fan of this film?
That tracks.
Really?
She did a YouTube parody with her friend and co-star from the TV show she was on. Was it Victorious? I forget the name of it.
Cat and something, right?
Oh, maybe it was that one. But they do a 10-minute remake, like a recreation where she plays Jennifer Coolidge because she can obviously do that impression.
Yeah.
And she also plays Jerry, and her co-star plays Cookie and Max. And it's hilarious, and it made me think that there should be a full remake of this movie with a completely different plot and younger, new actors.
How dare you?
It wouldn't be about a dog show. It's just like Christopher Guest doing something like this again with we should be ushering in a new young cast.
Yes.
To try something like this.
Yes. That would be great. But a
New
remake?
movie. Well, it's a new
it's like
movie.
in the universe.
In the universe.
I
see
would
what
like
you're saying.
that. I would like to be in the world, but also to check in with the characters. Like, what are the Flex up to? 25
I would
years
love
later.
to. Yeah.
Oh, see, I don't want that. I hate the rehashing.
No, but what if we did
Like
Best
Cobra
in
Kai
Show?
style?
What if we did Best in Show 2,
Cookie
all
Flex
new
and mature porn?
contestants, but like our original cast members could be around.
Maybe
Yes.
Cookie and Jerry run the
Yes.
dog show
Yeah,
or
or
something,
something
and you
like
can
that.
check in
Yeah.
with them.
Exactly. Yeah. The Cobra Kai comp is a great
Last
one.
question.
Yeah.
Did who is Liz Kelly's favorite character in this movie?
Who did she laugh at the most? I would say Catherine O'Hara hurting her knee was
Yeah.
up there, and then honestly, we both died at Max berating his son on the shed.
It's just
That
me.
was so
Just
good.
me alone on this island. That's fine.
It's just so good.
It's so good. That guy's the perfect cast for that role.
Incredible.
All right, that's it for the Rewatchables, produced by Craig Horlbeck. You can watch that as a video on Spotify. You can watch that on the Ringer Movies YouTube channel as well. You can see these two on House of R.
Yeah.
And
All
on
three of us.
Prestige.
That's right.
White Lotus, as we're taping this, so this will run on Monday. So there have been 4 episodes heading toward a monster 5th episode on a show we like very much. Thanks, guys. Good to see you.